2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Happy solar eclipse day to everyone that is willing to brave the skies. Don't look up. As many of you are probably aware, during President Trump's term, there was also an eclipse, and there was a picture taken of the former president looking directly into the sun without wearing glasses. So many folks are already asking that question. If looking directly into an eclipse is allegedly so harmful to your vision, how did President Trump get away with it? President Trump is on video, or better yet, they photographed President Trump looking into the sky during an eclipse. So apparently President Trump, being the badass that he is, asked many of you folks, folks always say, well, Chuck Norris can do this and Chuck Norris can do that. President Trump could stare into an eclipse and not have his vision affected. So it's just comedy, folks. Do not stare into a damn eclipse. But we're going to get the show started. 2 topics of sort, as always. Number 1, you see the whole live stream titled Biden's Economy and Trump's Promises versus Trump's Promises. First of all, we're going to be talking about Biden's economy. With Biden's economy, folks are suggesting it's the worst economy we've ever had. And yours truly, I'm going to admit I'm a tad bit baffled because Americans seem to be spending more than ever. So where the hell are they getting the money from? Also, we're talking about a solar eclipse, making jokes about that, references to that. The political analysts, let's just go with Airbnb, the popular rental agency, rental startup, you know what they used to be, renting homes to folks who want to go on vacation. They have stated that in the path of the eclipse going across the United States, all of their B&Bs, most of their B&Bs have been rented out, booked up for over a year. And the political analysts are suggesting that America alone is spending over $1 billion in reference to simply being able to look up at the damn sun for a period of a few minutes. So I'm going to start right out the bat and ask, if Biden's economy is so awful, how the hell is that happening? How are Americans finding so much money to do leisurely? This is not a necessity. This is not groceries. This is not gas. These are typical Americans looking at the damn sun, renting hotel rooms at a premium rate to go look at the sun for a few minutes, driving hundreds of miles to get in the path of an eclipse. So right off the bat, I want to ask that question, is Biden's economy really as bad as many of his critics suggest? That's going to be the first one, judging Biden's economy. Now, President Trump also today had a speech in regards to abortion, because I believe the Republicans, many political analysts believe the Republicans are realizing rolling back Roe v. Wade is not necessarily going to work well for them come election time. So President Trump had a speech today suggesting that Democrats support abortion after the 9th month. Where is that coming from? How many of you folks know someone that has terminated the life of the unborn, has had an abortion? Now, out of that number, because a hell of a lot of people probably do know someone that has had an abortion, how many of you know someone that had terminated a baby after the 9th month? Because Trump is suggesting Democrats support terminating life after the 9th month. Where is that coming from? Where is he getting that? Do you know of anyone? Have you heard of anyone terminating a baby after the 9th month? Also stating women are not losing any rights, just giving it back to the state. So this will be a what say you part of the program. Are women losing rights, or is it just handing it back to the states and women have no damn reason to complain at all? What say you? Last but not least is the argument that the GOP, the grand old party, the Republicans, do not want a federal abortion ban. This is what Trump and many on the right are saying, is that the Democrats are simply fear-mongering, suggesting that the Republican Party want a complete federal abortion ban. So those are our topics today, judging Biden's economy and Trump's abortion speech. On a side note, I just took notes. I wanted to ask you folks real quick. Don't go straight to the box, straight to the comment section, unbanned, uncensored format. That's the way the program has always been ran. MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guest. We'll go straight to the comments right after this. As a side note, the Trump expectations that many folks who favor Trump believe Trump is a hell of a lot better than Biden for this country. We're asking, are the Trump expectations realistic? What are they? Train in the swamp, composed of both Republicans and Democrats. Building the wall, lowering crime. Trump has promised quite often that under Biden, the crime rate has gotten to be insane, and he is likely to lower the crime rate. Ending the Ukraine-Russia war, as Trump promised, in 24 hours. Lowering goods, services, the economy, inflation, gas prices, when some folks are suggesting that a lot of the increased prices of goods and services are just price gouging. Can Trump lower this stuff? Last but not least, the largest deportation in history. So we're going to also be asking the question, is the expectations of President Trump realistic? Can he do what he is indeed promising? Looking in the comments right off the bat, all that some funny shit handsome. Thank you. I don't know what you're quite laughing at. Perhaps it's my ass. Who knows? He's going to more than Biden. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. But if you're not giving your signature promises, do we lower the bar and say, well, he didn't do what he promised, but he did more than Biden? Is that what we're saying? Going straight to the box, right off the bat, tap the screen, get your boy likes on up. 10,000 would be certainly appreciated. Going straight to the comments, it is D1. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. D, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Haven't talked to you for a while, but you make a lot of sense. But you know, Trump can do anything he wants. All he has to do is think about it. He can will it into existence.
So you believe Trump has magical mind powers?
Yeah, that's like he saved the economy, even though the economy was doing great. And my thing is that it's a lot of people being brainwashed.
So what about right now? You said Trump got the economy, even though it was great. I'm assuming you're talking about inheriting it from Obama. But what about now? Do you think Biden is doing a good job with the economy?
Hell yeah.
Why do you think so many people think otherwise?
It's the media outlets they listen to. It's like everything is so bad. I had one guy, I comment a lot, saying gas is $8. I was like, wow. Where the hell is gas $8?
Wow. He must be in the Netherlands somewhere. $8 a gallon. Yeah, I don't think gas is $8 a gallon anywhere in America. And I will say, I used to be an over-the-road driver, and there's a couple spots like out in the middle of the Rockies where there's no gas station for 60 miles or more, where it's some really high fuel, and I've never seen it anywhere near $8. That's pretty damn high.
Yeah, but they still putting out the same. I be on TikTok, a lot, and I comment on a lot of people, and they be like, "The gas is so high. Gas is $3.29 where I live at."
Yeah, but under President Trump, folks are going to suggest it was only $2.
Yeah, that's because 3,000 people were dying each day. No one was going anywhere.
You don't blame the pandemic on Trump, though, do you?
I don't blame it on. I blame his response because I was talking to someone last night. He downplayed it, and we was talking about. He knew how deadly it was. His thing, he wanted a trade deal from China. People overlooked that. See, if you listen to a Trump supporter, he was only president for 3 years.
What do you mean by that?
Hey, they forget about 2020.
No, he was president in 20. He didn't leave till 2021, so he was president all of 2020.
I know that, you know that, but it seems like a lot of people don't know it.
I haven't heard of anybody that suggests President Trump was not president in 2020. You're the first I've heard say that.
If you look at them, they be like, look until the pandemic came up. Everything was going good. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
That was the start of.
Okay, I get your point now. You know, because a lot of folks are going around saying that we were better off 4 years ago under Trump. You are correct. In 2020, which is 4 years ago, this country was in shambles, and you're right. Some folks are acting as though that did not take place.
See, they got like a short memory. I remember my wife coming in and wiping down grocery bags. Couldn't get no bottled water. Couldn't get no toilet paper.
Yeah. Well, in the comments, in regards to what we're talking about, Gloria Stubbs says Trump was president for 3 years. For 344 days of his presidency, he actually golfed a solid year. She's saying that he golfed for a whole straight year.
Yeah, I think it was 306 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, she says 344 days he golfed 1 year. Is that true? That he golfed for 344 days in a single year? I've never heard of that.
I thought it was 306 days.
Well, even still, it's only 365 days in a damn year, even if it's only 300.
Yeah, it was damn near a year.
Wow. I don't remember that being counted off while he was president. That seems a bit excessive. I want to ask you something, though, before we move it on. Now, in regards to Trump's abortion speech, he is suggesting that Democrats, I'm assuming you lean left?
Yes, I'm a progressive.
Okay, so you lean far left, further left than a typical Democrat.
Not really.
You don't lean left of Joe Biden?
No. I think Joe Biden is actually, back in the day when I was growing up, he will be considered a Republican.
Wow. So then if you're a progressive, you absolutely lean left of Biden.
Yeah, you could say that.
How do you think of Bernie Sanders? What do you think of Bernie Sanders?
I'm a Bernie bro.
All right, then you way left of Biden. I don't think you realize what I'm talking about. If you support Biden, you are way left. Who the hell else is left of Bernie Sanders, in your opinion?
Nobody.
Exactly.
The tax money we pay, we should get like health care. Paid vacations, maternity care,
Wait. What do you mean? Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean by we should get paid vacations? Explain that.
Oh, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like vacation. It's like when you first start a job, you have to work a year to get your vacation.
Okay.
Right? Your sick leave, all that went after a year working. I think it should be, when you first start working, it should be there.
So the minute I go to work for the first time, look us, manager.
Not the first time.
What are you talking about?
You gotta put in your work. But if it's like an emergency or something.
You said a vacation. No, you said a vacation. Now you're changing it to an emergency.
No, I misspoken, sir.
Okay, all right.
Stuff like FMLA, family, medical leave, and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
And when you first start working, if something happens to one of your family members or yourself, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You might as well just go look for another job.
Okay, that's a big difference than what you originally said. I do got to move it on, but yeah, if you got a medical emergency or something like that, that's a big difference than saying people should get paid vacation. So you really cleaned that up a lot. But I do got to move it on, D1. Appreciate you coming through.
Sir.
Absolute.
Have a great one.
You too. So looking in the comments, are better off now than 4 years ago. Tommy Brown on YouTube. You guys know we run a simultaneous broadcast on YouTube. In regards to the comment, are you better off now than 4 years ago? I think folks on the right, my beloved MAGA, it would behoove you to criticize Joe Biden's economy without bringing up that phrase, in my humble opinion, because there's things to criticize about Joe Biden. But when you ask people, are they better off 4 years ago, and they look at the calendar and they roll it back to March 2020, when people were fighting over toilet paper, hand sanitizer was like liquid gold, the answer is no. I understand your point that you believe the Trump economy was significantly better than the Biden economy. In my opinion, it would be in your best interest to state that than to have people be reminded of what was happening in April rather. I'm getting my damn months wrong. April of 2020. April 2024 is a hell of a lot better than April 2020. It's not in your best interest to keep reminding people of that shit. It really is not. Because that was a time when Trump was saying that COVID would be gone by April. In April of 2020, people were asking that question. What happened to it just going away? That's what Trump told us. It would be gone by April. Remind people of Biden's economy. Don't remind people of Trump's handling of COVID. It's a big difference on those two. Just word of advice. Look it in the comments. 303,000 jobs added last month under Biden. That is what the political analysts are saying. Butter Toast, love the name, says he's not looking after your best interest, Are you suggesting Trump is not looking after folks' best interest or Biden? Going back to the box, a lot of you folks are not tapping the screen. We should be around 20,000 likes by now. We got 600 plus of you in here judging President Biden's economy and the promises of Trump. That's what we're here doing today. Continuing the program on Ginger Beard. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. You definitely don't do the grocery shopping. Yeah, actually I do. Ginger, good afternoon.
How we doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Good to have you back on. We're talking about Biden's economy. Is it as bad as people are suggesting?
You know what, honestly, I think I gotta say a little bit. I mean, I've had my steady job for going on almost 20 years.
Okay.
I work in a gold mine. I work almost over a mile down underground.
Wow.
So, in my eyes, yeah, it kind of did go to crap. I mean, when the economy was down a little bit, gold prices went down.
Okay.
So, I mean, it did affect my hourly pay.
Well, let me interrupt and say this. In regards to what you do, in regards to what you do for a living, you're better off with a bad economy because it leads people to purchase gold, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With a bad economy, it helps the gold industry because it brings it down some so people can afford it. Mm-hmm. Because right now, nobody can afford almost $2,200 an ounce. I mean, if you can, you've got a lot of money.
Wow.
So, yeah, but then I also look at it as it hurts my family down the road. Like,
okay.
I've got family, obviously, that's not in the business. So, it's hurt my mom. It's hurt my sisters. That's all got families and kids. And so, I mean, I can't say so much that it affected me, but it has affected my close relationship when it comes to my family.
Okay. So right now you see the economy is pretty bad off in your industry?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you believe Trump alone can correct the economy?
This is what I think. I think he can, but I don't think he's going to have enough time.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because I mean, it took a little while. I mean, you hear everything right now as, the president that's in office now inherited whatever from the previous president,
Right.
from that previous president. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I just don't know. I think if Trump gets back in there, I'm a Trump supporter, but if Trump gets back in there, I think it's going to go down a little bit more before it starts getting better. That's just me.
What makes you think if Trump gets reelected?
Notice why I think that is because there's a lot of haters out there.
Oh.
There's a lot of, I guess you could put it that way. There's a lot of Democratic people that are going to try what they can to make the economy go down, because it is the people that make the economy go up and down. If you have money, you spend money. If you don't have money, you don't spend money. So I think if Trump gets back in office, I think it's going to go down a little bit for probably the first year or so, because there's going to be people trying to prove to, oh, you know what? You got Trump in there. I didn't want Trump in there. So guess what? I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to go shopping. I'm not going to go out and spend thousands of dollars during Christmas time or during the holidays or any of that stuff, which makes the economy better.
So you believe that if Trump gets reelected, Democrats would opt to purchase less for their family around Christmas just to get back at Trump? They make their family suffer?
I can't just say like just around Christmas time, holidays. I just think that their spending is not going to be as much as it is right now.
Would you ever change your spending habits out of anger to the president? Is that something you would ever do, Ginger?
Well, I don't like to brag, but I make pretty good money, so
Yeah.
I'm way up in there in the way kind of in more towards the middle, the higher of the middle class part, but I've worked my way up that way. But so to me, it's not going to hurt me any. Like I said, it's not going to hurt me and my wife and my kids. I'm still going to spend whatever we spend.
Yeah, but that's not answering the question. Would you, even though you make more money than average, would you? I mean, maybe you're going to go out and buy a new car. Would you change your spending habits out of disgust for the current commander in chief if you didn't like who was in office?
No, I wouldn't. But
Yeah, I don't think most Americans, if I want a new car or I want to go and take a vacation, I don't give a damn who's in the White House. I'm only going to be around so many years, Ginger. Why would I alter my own personal satisfaction to get back at a guy who's a billionaire? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, it probably doesn't make sense. I sit back and I go into a lot of people's lives like yours, and a lot of Democrats' lives, and a lot of Republicans' lives, and I don't ever get in the box. You're the only life that I get in the box.
Okay.
Well, and just to hear the way that people talk, it's, oh, you gotta vote for Donald Trump, or you gotta vote for Biden. You can't vote for that RFK. You can't vote because all that's gonna do is help Joe, or it's gonna help Trump out. And if you do, our economy's gonna go down even worse. Our economy's gonna fall. I mean, it's you're never gonna be able to recover from it. And I'm thinking, you're saying that, but how are you gonna have to face the facts like we all had to face the facts these 4 years that Donald Trump lost, obviously, and that we had a new president. How are you going to try and fix the economy from taking a shit? Yeah. And a lot of people, when you ask questions like that, they're like, I ain't going to do anything to help it out.
Yeah, but they probably are lying. I don't believe folks are going to alter their own personal lifestyles. If I make more money, I'm going to spend more money. Damn, who's in the White House? Spending money is what makes us all happy in this damn country. Nobody's going to alter what they go out and purchase or what they get for their families. You think my kids give a damn during the holiday season who's president when they're asking for toys and Christmas gifts? They don't give a shit who's in Washington. So I don't believe anybody. They may be saying it very similar to if Biden gets reelected or if Trump wins, I'm going to leave America. People say things, but when you actually come down to actually doing it, they're not going to do that. I do got to move it on, though, Ginger. Appreciate you coming through.
I do want to start a business. I want to start a moving business called Two Deplorables and a Moving Truck. If anybody's willing to leave the country, if Trump gets presidency again, so I'll be looking for some employees.
I gotta go. Two deplorables. Well said. Two deplorables and a moving truck. Wow. All right, looking at the comments. 1 million. By the way, Tommy Brown, I don't mind reading the comments. This is a YouTuber, by the way. Don't keep typing them over and over again. 1 million Trumpers. What did it say there? 1 million Trumpers. 1 million. Well, wait. 100 plus million Trumpers in counting. In a country of only 350 million people, I think last time we had around 150 million folks voting. How many of you folks believe that 100 million of them are going to vote Trump? 100 plus million votes. That's a bit high. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. That's a bit high. Trump is not going to score that high. The housing market began to go ridiculous. Even Trump entered after. Is that after Trump entered office or even Trump entered office there, He-Man? Going back to the box. Yeah, somebody said he dreaming. Yeah, 100 plus. I guarantee you, with a fair bit of certainty, Trump is not going to get 100 plus million votes. Not even close. Not even close. There are more than 50 plus million folks. If you add the few folks, and I'm going to say few, if you add in the few folks that support Biden and a large group of never Trumpers in this country, I guarantee it's more than 50 million. That's not to say Trump may not win in November, but I guarantee he's not going to get 100 million votes. That's not going to happen. Wishful thinking. That's what I'll just say about that. FSU, good afternoon. Welcome to, well, what did I hit there? Give it a minute. Trump has a problem with blacks, but some of them still support him. Same with women. I am so it. Trump has a problem with blacks, really? Wow. And women. Yikes. United. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing very good. So, in regards to Trump's speech, we're going to talk about Biden's economy as well, but Trump stated Democrats support abortion after the 9th month. Is that your same opinion? You believe that to be accurate?
I have not heard anything definitive to prove that.
Yeah. So where do you think he's getting it from?
Anything. So I think it's just blustering and fear-mongering. I'm not going to go and back something up without evidence.
Yeah.
That's just silliness.
Yeah, I do believe Ron DeSantis, when he was still running for president, made the same statement, and both of them, neither one of them have produced a single case where someone tried to show up or someone successfully had a child that was post-birth aborted. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you.
I don't see that happening, even if it was legal. I just don't see it happening. I don't think humanity has degraded to the point where that would even be possible.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you do believe it's Trump fear-mongering?
I do.
Yeah. So what about the claim that women are not losing any rights? They're just returning it to the states. Do you see rolling back Roe v. Wade as taking away rights of women in any way, shape, or form?
No, but I do see it as putting it back into the states. And the thing with the states is you move to the state that aligns with your beliefs. That's how it's been for a very long time.
So if I got a home in a certain state, my children go to school there, my family is there, and the state changes their law, you're suggesting that I should move away from all I know, and that would mean I'm not losing any rights, even though I got to move away from everything I've known my entire life.
I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else, but it is what I would do.
Okay, but that's not losing any rights. But that's not losing any rights.
Depends on the state.
Okay.
Is the state going to take away that right? I guess that's the bigger question there. Is
okay, well, let's
going to take away that right.
Okay, well, let's go with that example. In the state of Texas, where abortion is completely banned, even if the mother's life is in jeopardy, if you're a female in Texas, in your opinion, are you losing rights?
I would say yes in that particular instance. And if that were the case when I was of childbearing years, I would be dead already.
Wow.
So I am very astute to that.
What are you suggesting that you were pregnant and your life was in danger if you had been forced to keep the child?
Correct.
Okay. Do you vote right or left?
I'm independent. I vote based on policy, not fear-mongering, not identity politics. I do a great deal of research. Okay. And I'm really split on the whole Biden is a no-go for me at this point. Just no-go. So for me, it's between Trump and Kennedy.
So what policies, if you're going by what policies of Biden just disqualify him completely?
When I go to the grocery store and it costs me $250 a week to feed 2 people.
Okay. Do you believe, because that was part of the question we asked her, do you believe Trump can make grocers bring down the price of groceries?
Not in a capitalist system.
So why do people think that if he's put back in office, it's going to happen?
I don't know. Uneducated. When making that statement, you cannot. We're a capitalist society, okay? You can't force them. There are ways you can encourage them, but you cannot force them.
So if I'm listening to you correctly, it sounds like Biden's policies make him a no-go, but you're also admitting Trump is making a whole bunch of promises that he's not likely to keep, such as
He can't make them, but he can incentivize them. So I think sometimes when people say, I can make them do this, they're like, we're going to incentivize them to do this.
What incentive? What incentive? A tax? You think a tax? Well, Trump has already gave him a tax break.
You can incentivize them with tax breaks. You can incentivize them in a lot of ways. Take your pick. I'd like to know a little bit more what the plan is to accomplish that, but you can't make them, not in a capitalist society. That is in the hands of the people, such as the Kellogg's boycott going on right now.
Yeah. So there is some
prices to come down. You're going to have to take a stand united together.
So with the Kellogg's boycott, and I am familiar with that, do you buy into the notion that they are price gouging for their products?
When the CEO sits there and says we increased prices 28% because we could,
yeah,
sure.
So if we admit, so
when you sit there and say eat cereal for dinner, that has absolutely no nutritional value. That's like saying, go ahead, America, starve to death. It's like, no, this is not this. No, that's third world nonsense.
So then I have to ask, if you got companies admitting that they are price gouging, why is President Biden getting blamed for it?
There's no reason to blame Biden. That is, again, a capitalist corporation that can do as they please.
So then I originally asked you what policies of Biden makes him a no-go for you, and you pointed to the price of groceries. But now you're suggesting that groceries are high because the grocer is price gouging.
Grocer is price gouging, but that's only one piece of the pie.
Give me another one.
Inflation. You cannot print as much money as the Biden administration has printed and not cause high inflation.
Okay. You feel confident that President Trump would bring down the deficit, bring down the inflation? You already admitted part of it is price gouging, but you feel confident that
it's price gouging.
Yeah. So under Trump, according to at least Nikki Haley, Trump too was driving up the deficit. Do you feel Trump would be a better option than Biden in that area in terms of printing up money?
Every president has driven up the deficit.
Huh?
Every single one of them.
Right.
Every president has driven up the deficit. Yeah. I mean, that's like pointing fingers at everybody going, they didn't fix the problem. No, we haven't fixed the problem because everybody keeps kicking the can down the road.
Right. So the reason why I'm asking you these questions is I understand why you're not voting for Biden, but I'm confused as to why you're potentially putting Trump as a possible supporter. You're saying that he's got a bunch of bad things as well. I don't hear anything. I'm asking you about Trump, and the answers are almost as bad as the ones you're giving me about Biden.
Okay. Here is my personal view, not based on policy. I am a Gen Xer.
Okay.
My entire adult life has been one forever war after another, after another, after another, and after another. One economic disaster after another, after another, after another, after another. The 4 years of Trump was the first time we didn't have an economic disaster on the horizon or another forever war declared.
Okay.
That is the 4 years of peace in my entire adult life.
Okay. Do you feel confident that he could end the current conflicts around the world, whereas the Israelis are still dealing with Hamas and Palestinians, and now potentially Iran is about to get into that deal? We still have the Ukraine-Russian war. Do you think if Trump gets reelected in November, that stuff ends?
I don't think it's going to immediately end in November, and to be honest, I think Trump can do it, and I think Kennedy can do it. Kennedy don't even speak on it, do he? I think he could do it.
Okay. I don't know. The thing about Kennedy, I don't know if
does he have a history? No, he doesn't.
I don't think he's even talking about doing it. At least Trump is suggesting he could do it.
He's not. He's not saying a word. And that's why it's just like, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot.
All right. Fair enough. I think we all are united. I got to move it on, though. Good talk. Doors always open to you.
Thank you. you much, and you have a lovely day, sir.
Absolutely, you too. So that's what we're doing today, folks. And by the way, tap the screen. Get your boy on up to about 35,000 likes on TikTok. Smash that like button on YouTube. You know how the program is ran. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone. If you disagree with somebody in the comment section or even yours truly, nobody gives a damn. It's all about free speech here, never telling you what you should think, how you should feel, all about hearing what you have to say. That's the way we've been running the program since day one. Where it always will be ran. Program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Vivek would be better in another position. I don't know. In regards to Vivek Ramaswamy, I personally believe not going with Vivek for the right side of the aisle is a pursuit of all versus nothing. And what I mean by that, the all or nothing approach is, I believe, particularly with Vivek, certainly Ron DeSantis, and definitely, who was the other? Maybe Tim Scott. I'm gonna say with Tim Scott, you're probably getting about 80% of what Trump would have gave you. Ron DeSantis and Vivek, you're starting to cross about 90% of the policies you want out of Trump you would have gotten. However, you don't get the 88 indictments he got to beat. You don't get the fact that he can only run for one term. He can now run for two. He's a younger guy. You don't have to deal with the never Trumpers with Vivek or Ron DeSantis. I do believe pursuing Trump over these folks was a matter of all or nothing. We want Trump or we'd rather lose. And we'll see how it goes. But if Biden somehow, some way gets reelected, I guarantee I'm not going to be the only one stating what I just stated. A lot of folks on the right are going to be saying the same thing. We could have got almost everything we wanted out of Trump out of one of these other people without the baggage. So we'll see what happens, though. Look at in the comments. Trump needs a VP to bring independent and some Dems, says Moni. Yeah, probably. I don't disagree with that. I don't know if Trump could ever put a VP and it's going to bring in the Democrats, though. But independents for sure. But Trump is too bombastic to get many Democrats on his side. That's my own personal opinion. Going back to the box, judging Trump's, better yet, the Biden economy versus Trump promises. Stick Darula. Good afternoon, Stick. Look at the eclipse like your master does, no glasses. Okay. Good afternoon, Stick.
Hey, good afternoon, handsome.
Hey, so what do you? Go ahead. I'll give you the flow.
I was just thinking that it's kind of interesting on some of the Trumpers' thoughts on what Donald Trump can do, and there was no wars, and well, why was he bombing people? Why is he the bomber in chief?
Well, wait a minute. He only launched tomahawks into Syria. There was less conflict under Trump internationally.
The point I'm trying to make is, why did he have to bomb people if there was such peace and tranquility all over the world?
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing of it is, when we talk about gas prices, because I heard that come up too.
Always does.
What she needs to do is say, well, at the time we were paying $2 and some change a gallon, and why, the question she needs to ask is, why did Donald Trump tell Saudi Arabia to cut it by 10 million barrels a day? Now, imagine if we would have had 10 million more barrels a day and we're not going anywhere during COVID. How low would the gas prices be then? Because we're talking about supply and demand, and this is a capitalist country. If he's always trying to get the lowest price for us Americans, why didn't he allow those 10 million more barrels to come in to drop the prices?
Well, as one rapper would say, your price is way too high. You need to cut it. I don't know. But that is a good point. That is a good point. But now, do we really believe that Trump, if he gets reelected, he could take gas prices to where they were 7 years ago?
Well, I don't think he could take gas prices nowhere near they were 4 years ago. I would say, 4 years ago, because that was during the height of COVID-19, and nobody was going anywhere, so the gas prices dropped. So again, I don't even think he'd get it back to that.
Wow.
And that was due to us. That was due to the consumer not going anywhere while the price dropped. So at the end of the day, it's all in their head. If you want to, that song, All in Your Head, thinking it over and over.
I know the song.
Doing. It's everything that Trump can or may or was able to do. How about this? Everybody's looking at it as, one second. Everybody's looking at it as Trump is the savior. This is my thing. What if Biden or what if Hillary would have won and used Obama's economy and his plan, his COVID plan, or his emergency pandemic plan? Where would we be? Would the gas prices be lower? Will people's grandfathers, grandmothers still be here? This is the question we have to ask people.
Yeah, but people are going to counter and say that if Hillary Clinton had won, folks would have viewed her as a weaker leader than Trump, and there would be world conflicts everywhere like they are now.
Well, my thing of it is like this. I don't think Putin would have tried her. I really don't think, because her husband was the man on top of the man. You get what I'm saying?
I understand.
And she was very well versed because she was the Attorney General, correct? I think it was, or was it?
She was Secretary of State, I think she was.
Secretary
and
of State.
Senator, and she was a senator too, was she not?
Yeah. So she's, and then she had to get briefed, just like, I don't know why we got to brief Trump again and tell our secrets again to somebody that'll go run off to another billionaire and say, hey, they just.
Yeah, I don't. You know something? Since you mentioned something about getting briefed. Even after being president, all of the former presidents do still have access to a lot of information. I think they cut Trump off. I don't think he gets the briefings right now.
Well, my whole thing of it is, Tim, like he don't need to get brief about anything. I think that they need to wait and let him go through court and anything else, because this is the first time in history we've had to go through any of this. Not an impeachment, but we have the president of the United States, number one, backing our number one enemy that has been our number one enemy since after World War II. So this is unprecedented.
So you see President Trump as literally backing Russia.
I see him as not only backing Russia, I see him in bed with Russia. I mean, there's no limit to what Trump can do, because I mean you're paying $175 million bond fraudulently.
Wow.
When you're willing to just do it right in front of their face, yeah, you messing with a monster. He's a monster.
So then let me ask you this. Speaking of messing with monsters, Gen X, friend of the program on YouTube, says the question that we need to ask is, if Biden is reelected and kicks the bucket, shout out to KFC, kicks the bucket or becomes unable to keep his office, we got Kamala Harris. Even much of the loony left understands that Harris equals game over. Do you think Kamala Harris is up to the job?
No, I don't see it as game over. What I see it as is she's gonna have her corner, which the corner is looking very good. I mean, when you have three former presidents, living presidents, all together, and they're working for a common goal, the common goal is to make sure that America thrives. And Trump don't have that. Trump don't have none of the Republican presidents, Bush.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
Anybody.
Yeah.
He don't have his own people from his old last cabinet. He don't have nobody backing him on that. So at the end of the day, I believe she has enough wisdom in her corner, enough what do you want to call them? Trainers,
advisors.
I don't call her like she's a damn animal or anything, but I mean, as far as presidential, as far as presidential,
she got enough. When you said she got enough trainers in her.
Yeah. I don't mean it to say it like that.
You mean advisors? She has enough advisors in her corner.
Yeah. Mike Tyson had Gus, right? Tyson had Gus.
Right.
Ali had who he had, and so on and so on. So that's all I'm saying. She's got enough wisdom in her corner to help her say, hey, check this out. What should I do on this?
Yeah.
How should I handle this? And a lot of people don't like that, but they're doing it with Trump. Trump is calling the Speaker of the House saying, hey, don't make a border deal. So if Obama's helping, if Clinton is helping, if Hillary Clinton is helping, if any of these presidents, even Joe Biden, is if he wants to help us get a younger president in there by kicking, hey, he's helping, because that's what we're asking for. So at the end of the day, I believe she has enough people in her corner, enough advisors to make sure that she does the right thing, and we turn it around just like Barack Obama turned it around, just like Joe Biden right now is turning it around. Because remember, Joe Biden was a part of that turnaround with the Barack Obama, so he knows what to do as well.
That depends on who you ask, but Stick, I do appreciate you coming through. Well said. Always open to you. Thank you. Real quick in the comments, Valdez, in response to what my last caller was saying, stated, you want advice from the swamp is what you want. In regards to if Kamala Harris was propelled to the nation's highest office, listening to her advisors, Valdez says, no, you're talking about you want advice from the swamp. The instant pushback is, didn't Trump promise us there was not going to be a swamp? You're basically suggesting that Trump failed at that promise. You're suggesting there's still swamp creatures in existence. Now, what I will say in regards to what my last caller said about Kamala Harris, regardless of who ends up in the nation's highest position, I do agree that listening to your advisors is very important, whether you're on the left or the right. And many acknowledge that Trump was not the type to listen to his advisors. Trump literally wanted to be a one-man band. Hence, I know more about COVID than anyone. I know more about, the war in Afghanistan than the generals on the ground. In my personal opinion, that's not healthy. There's a reason why you have a team. You don't play all by yourself. The team is there for a reason. So even if Kamala, if I'm getting the pronunciation correct, even if she's awful, I would appreciate the fact that I can feel confident she'd listen to the Joint Chiefs, she'd listen to the leading virologists or the CDC or the FDA. And I do believe the likes of Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, all of them would have done that too. So I'm not speaking totally to bash Trump or bash the right, but I do believe it's important for any leader to put together a team of experts and take their advice to heart. You don't have to follow all of the shit they telling you, but damn it, they know a hell of a lot more than you do about this stuff. They've been in these prospective fields their whole life. Trump was a real estate mogul. That's it. He wasn't dealing with viruses and all this other shit. So the idea that you're going to tell West Point graduates that you know more about war than they do, that's a bit narcissistic in my opinion. I just think that's a bit much. Looking in the comments, that's like saying just because I'm in special ed, I must play with the special kids in my class. Well, here's the difference though. Free my grandma, I love the name. Here's the difference. If you're in special ed, you don't have no control over your classmates. If you are president, you are the one that appointed everybody in your damn class. Why would you appoint people you don't want to play with? It's a big difference, but I thought your example was fairly humorous. Looking in the comments, she wouldn't have a choice. She spends most of the time laughing. All right, that's a good one as well, but someone suggesting that Trump went golfing 300 and some odd times in a single year, he's not laughing, but he doesn't sound like he's working either, so it can be taken both ways. Going back to the box, we're talking about judging Biden's economy and Trump's promises. Trump had an abortion speech today suggesting that Democrats support aborting baby 9+ months after pregnancy. Stated it on live television. I want to ask you folks, do you believe there's some validity to that? Talking about the Biden's economy, what you think of that? Wing Ding King, good afternoon, welcome to the program. 9+ months into pregnancy, you could abort that child according to Trump. What say you, Wing Ding?
Oh man, I don't know, bro. There you go. I just think, man, you just need somebody. Just being president how it plays into the Americans.
What about Biden? Do you see him as presidential?
Yeah, man.
Folks are suggesting the guy's falling down, don't know where he's at. You see that?
I mean, you know, hey, man, that's the great thing about Trump, man. He paints a picture, and his followers, they ride it. If he says something, oh, that's Sleepy Joe. Everything is Sleepy Joe.
Well, wait a minute, though. Wait, hold on. Trump is not painting a picture of Biden falling down. The TV is showing the guy collapsing.
I don't care. And I don't care. That don't mean he's sleepy. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, though, he paints the picture of this guy being a buffoon.
But Wingding, there is actual video of Biden falling asleep in the middle of meetings. It's on video.
He's 80. He's 80.
That's what Trump is talking about. He's too damn old. You don't see.
80, man. I'd rather have him falling asleep instead of not trusting anybody.
Whoa. Okay, so now we get to the meat of it.
Donald Trump don't trust nobody but himself. And that's why he's going to have his minions. He's going to have minions with him.
What is a minion?
You know what a minion is? A follower. A person that'll do anything you say and will not have anything back. If you, hey man, you know, 2 + 2 is 5.
So you're talking about like yes men or goons?
Yes man, ass kissers.
Wow.
That's what he's looking for. That's why when he was doing the RNC, he was asking them, were the 2020 election stolen? He didn't want to hear people agree with him at all. So he's a supreme narcissist, bro.
Wow. But what about folks suggesting the country was ran better under Trump? I mean, no wars internationally.
I don't see it being ran better, man. Because, like I say, they talk. We know who runs everything. Like with the gas prices, we know why the gas prices was high. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he said it himself. I spoke to Saudi Arabia. I spoke to Russia. We don't need these guys to do anything good to help the price of gas go down. All right? We know why.
Hello, Moto.
We know why the groceries went up. We know why the groceries went up. The groceries went up because the corporate set the prices. It had nothing to do with the president, man, and we know that.
So if you're saying none of that had anything to do with the president, and we all know that, you want to explain to me why? Hold on, but you want to explain to me why Biden continues to get trounced in the polls? Every damn poll is saying Trump is even among African Americans, Trump numbers are going up. How do you explain that?
Hey man, Trump was winning in the polls before the COVID thing jumped off, and in those polls that he was showing while it was COVID, he was winning then. That doesn't mean anything. People are not finna let that ignoramus back into the White House, bro. I guarantee you, man. And I told you a couple of weeks ago, he is going to get less votes than he did the last time. His vote's gonna go down each year.
So Wingding. And by the way, tap the screen, folks. Get your boy likes on up to about 45,000. Certainly enough for you in there, almost 800. Tap the screen, get your likes up. Same thing with YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Do you feel safe in America under Biden when the border is porous? So many folks are coming in this country. You feel safe?
Hey, handsome man. We from Chicago, bro. So Chicago is supposed to be like one of those sanctuary cities where the people are coming here, right? They coming here. Hey, man, I actually done played softball and baseball with the Venezuelan guys, with the immigrants, bro. They are not a problem. The problem are the Americans that's here. Those are doing all the crime and all the murders and all the killings. That's what we need to be worrying about.
So if the Venezuelans and all the immigrants in Chicago is not a problem, why the hell are so many Chicagoans on TV complaining?
Because, man, I think people are just being used, man. You know, everybody out.
I don't
know. They think that little 18,000 for them to get some room and board is enough money to live off of. That's why they still out here on corners asking for money when you stop at the red light off the expressway.
But what about the notion that some of these folks have came over here and actually murdered Americans? They're squatting in people's houses, dealing drugs. There's actual documented evidence of that happening. You don't have any issue with this.
I mean, man, Americans have been doing it for years, man. Didn't nobody say anything about them, bro.
Yeah, but
I think Trump will pardon Timothy McVeigh and
he's dead.
And find a place for him in this staff.
Okay, you're breaking up, but
he's that type of piece of shit.
Okay, you're breaking up a bit, but you know Timothy McVeigh was executed already.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just want to make sure you know that.
That's a staff member.
All right. Okay. Wow.
Trump is off hate, bro. It's nothing. It's nothing about love for him, man. And his base. I gotta say this, man. The guys that I know, and some of the white tee guys that I know, they not as crazy about him as they was in 2016. They see exactly what you see what he did to Truth Social. Truth Social ain't worth a damn. So he's gonna wind up going to jail for that.
Yeah. Well, you know,
he's gonna wind up going to jail for that. He's a crook.
Okay, I do got to interrupt you. I'm noticing it's getting dark. Is that Eclipse shit happening right now?
Of course, man.
Huh?
You know, yeah. In Chicago, it's jumping off at 2:07.
I think it's jumping off right now. I'm like, damn, it's getting dark out here. All right, I gotta move it on, but it kind of reminds me of Independence Day with Will Smith, where they were noticing the TV had lines. Like, what the hell is going on? All right, man, I appreciate you coming through. All right, so I'm looking like, remember the movie Independence Day? You see them watching television and notice them wavy lines and shit. Like, what's going on with our TV sets? I'm like, damn, is something wrong with my eyes? Why is it getting? I see shadows and shit. All right, so. I don't know. Look, I'm not a big conspiratorial guy. I'm not very religious, but, you know, celestial shit like this does frighten me a little bit. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's getting fucking dark out here. I thought I saw an owl. Okay, going back to the comments real quick. Damn, this darkness is spooking me out real quick, though. But, what as it says, it just finished passing in San Antonio, Texas, but it was too cloudy. We couldn't see anything. Well, if the sun goes away, even if it's cloudy, you should have noticed it getting darker. Even with the cloud, I mean, no matter how cloudy it is, when it gets dark at night, don't you notice the difference? I don't know. Hanson, be careful out there. Well, if something happens here, it's going to happen there too. Real quick, judging President Biden's economy and Trump's promises. Some of Trump's promises. We want to talk about this real quick because we want to know if in 2024, if he's brought back into power, draining the swamp, going to build a wall this time, lowering crime. I don't know how a president can make a promise of lowering crime, but President Trump is doing this over and over again at many rallies. He's constantly talking about crime. I don't know what power the chief of the federal government can do to lower crime in America's urban areas. I mean, let's say Chicago, for instance, liberal city, liberal state. What is Trump going to do to lower crime in Chicago? I don't see how he could do that. Now, I see somebody in the comments said military. You can't force the military into Illinois if the governor don't want them there. I mean, are we for constitutionality or not? You can't just force these folks into people's states. So I don't know how Trump could lower crime. Now, in regards to funding the police, I saw some folks say funding the police. Once again, it's still up to the states and the local jurisdictions on directing the police. You can go out and buy them tanks. You can buy them fucking rail guns or whatever you want to get a police. It's still up to the local jurisdiction on whether they're going to use it or not. So the idea that Trump could lower crime, I'm going to say right off the bat, it's probably a that's not likely. That's at the federal government level. You can't do that. End the Ukraine-Russian war. I do believe he could do that, but I don't know if anyone would like how he does it. Lower goods and services, gas prices, the economy. We've had a talk on that. I got my own opinions. We'll reserve them for the next conversation. And last but not least, he is promising the largest deportation in U.S. history. That is one where I think Trump has the greatest chance of delivering on all of the things he promised: drain the swamp, build a wall, lower crime, end the Ukraine-Russian war, lower goods and services, and the largest deportation in history. I do believe he could do that, but I don't know if anybody would be happy. Well, some people would. It would be interesting, though. Looking in the comments, presidential as fuck, brother. All hail the dictator, the king, Donald. I don't quite get what you're saying, but I understand where you're going with that. Going back to the box, tap the screen, by the way. Get your guy on up to 50,000. We close there for 700 plus. Same thing on YouTube. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So understand, we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We do believe in people should be able to speak. So even if you disagree with me, doesn't mean a damn thing. You disagree with somebody in the comments, who gives a damn? It's all about free speech. Danny, good afternoon.
How's it going, man?
Going good. So go ahead.
I just said, you doing all right today?
I'm doing all right if the sun doesn't crash into the earth with this seeing shadows everywhere like 1:50 in the afternoon on a sunny day. It's weird. I'm not gonna look up though.
It's getting a little dim here in Georgia too.
Yeah, it's weird. But you know, folks are suggesting that if you look into the sun, it can be damaging to your eyes. But how did Trump get away with it? He looked right at the sun and was like, "Damn it, son, I'm good."
I don't know, man. I'm a Trump supporter, but you know, like I think I told you last time we was on the phone on I was in the box. I want better options. I mean, I'd like to have better options all the way around. But
why not one of the other 9 guys? The Viveks, the Nikki Haley's, the Ron DeSantis. Why not one of them?
I probably would have voted Ron DeSantis. I mean, he's done a lot for Florida.
Yeah.
I think he could have done a lot for the country. The others, they really didn't have a fighting chance, I don't think. And Nikki Haley might have, but I think she stayed in the fight longer than she should have.
Yeah. So what's so wrong with Trump? You said you want a different option. I mean, I'm assuming you put Trump in 2016 over Hillary, right?
Oh yeah, like the lesser of two evils.
Oh, so you saw Trump as one of the evils even in 2016.
Not a Trump as a person, as a human being. I'm not a fan. I think he should shut his mouth some. But you know, as some of your other people said, in 3 years he was president. I lived better. My dollar went further.
Wait. You said that some people.
Fuel for a living.
Hold on. You said that some people would say the what years?
The 3 years he was president. Some of you people was talking earlier. He was only president for 3 years, and in 2020 he golfed for 306 days or something.
How do you think Trump? Because some folks also credit him for mishandling the pandemic. Do you think he did a good job with COVID?
I don't think nobody's done a good job with COVID. Yeah. But, I mean, what could you do? I mean, the one thing I've never heard mentioned, you know, they talked about it being coming from a laboratory in China where they was trying to weaponize it. You know, that during the early part of an election year, don't that bring up some speculation to a lot of folks?
Well, you're always going to get speculation. But when you said, you know, nobody handled the pandemic, let me ask you this question. Do you think Trump did the best he could with the pandemic?
Well, you know, with Congress and everything else,
Doctor, do you think his dealing with Dr. Fauci was the best he could do?
Misinformed, you know. Yeah, maybe.
Misinformed by who?
That's a hard question.
Well,
you know, they said Dr. Fauci told him this, and the World Health Organization was telling him that, and you know, he was going off what he was advised, and You know,
So when Trump suggested that that COVID would likely be gone by April, you think somebody advised him of that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody had to tell him. I don't think he would have just thrown that out there on his own fruition.
Well, he did say he knows more about COVID than anybody. What did that mean to you when he said that?
Well, no, that was him blowing smoke, I believe.
Yeah, so if he said that so if you believe he blew smoke in that case, why is it?
Yeah, you're right. You got a point there.
Right, so we got people dying all over the place, and as you're admitting, he's blowing smoke in the middle of that whole process. You think that is presidential?
No, not really.
Okay. So when I asked you, did he handle the pandemic the best he could, perhaps we would take out the blowing smoke part.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But he's got a habit of doing that, and he likes to hear himself talk, and that's why I said I like better options. I mean, I personally think that the whole Democrat and Republican people that in office, you know, they're career politicians lining their pockets, and I don't think they have all of our best interests at heart, but Republicans, Democrats, independents, all.
Here's something I don't understand. And I'll let you explain it to me any way you want. You know I don't censor anything anyway. But when we talk about career politicians, we often paint it to be in a bad light. If I told you we're going to take a flight across the ocean, and the pilot is a career pilot, or we're going to go and mine for gold, and the miner is a career miner, it would all be a good thing. Why is a career politician viewed so negatively when in most cases a career professional means they got more skill at a job than anybody? Since when do we want the unskilled to do jobs?
Well, it's not so much that we want unskilled to do it, but you got people in there that you got the lobbyists in there, pull for this, we'll put money in your pocket if you pull for that, and you pull for this. Whenever you get somebody in there that does it for, a lifelong job, well, they're bound to get corrupt, on all sides.
Let me explain it to you this way, Danny. Let's say we live in a town where a barge has just taken out one of our major bridges, and we need money, particularly from the federal government, to get this bridge built because we don't want it to be only on our local taxpayers. Wouldn't you rather have a career politician in there that knows how to talk to folks in Washington to get the job done, as opposed to some dude who just came in? I don't see why being a career politician is a bad thing. You want somebody who know the ropes, who got friends out there that can get money and resources to your area.
Well, no, there's different sides of it. You got the politicians that, well, not necessarily politicians, but you got the Army Corps of Engineers where people are trained in handling this stuff and emergency management and stuff like that. I'm talking about the ones that are sitting up there and they're not advising on nothing. They're up there trying to make policies that
Yeah, I mean, I get your point, but the question I'm asking is, why do we assume the new guy is honest and the career guy is corrupt? You can be a new guy planning on getting in Washington and ripping everybody off too. Being a new guy should not automatically make folks assume that that's a good guy and the guy that's been around forever is a bad guy. I mean, Ronald Reagan, who a lot of folks view as one of the best Republicans in a long time, was a career politician. I mean, he was governor for a few years. I mean, that guy had a long-term political history when he went to Washington, and nobody assumed that meant he had to be a bad guy. I don't get that.
No, I'm not assuming that you guys not, but we depend on Google and everything else when we were searching who to vote for. I'm not so sure that that's a good idea anymore from listening to a lot of these conservative, and I've even listened to a lot of the far left, talk shows like yours on TikTok and all here the past couple of weeks. And I mean, a lot of people make a lot of compelling points, but at the end of the day, got to look at what you got to vote for. What's in your best interest in the people around you.
Well said. And right now you're leaning to Trump, but you do see him as a lesser of two evils.
I see him as a lesser of two evils.
Wow.
I don't know how. Everybody talks about Obama. Biden's doing such a great job. I personally don't see it, but you see all his follies, all his miscues, all his, trying to shake people's hands that's not there, falling upstairs. And I'm not trying to make fun of the man or nothing like that, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of concerning issues there.
Yeah.
To me, he's the lesser of two evils right now.
All right.
I want better options.
I think many people do. I got to move it on, Danny, but I think many folks feel just like you do. Appreciate you coming through. Come on back anytime. Anytime. Tap the screen. We should be around 65,000. Still about 700 plus of you in here. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. So, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You folks could be anywhere right now during this eclipse. You could be outside looking at the damn sky. But I appreciate the fact that you're here conversating with yours truly. So if you will, tap the screen. Certainly on YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. Real quick in the comments, in regards to my last conversation, Panfish stated because the new guy doesn't owe anyone anything, referencing lifelong politicians as opposed to someone new, suggesting that we would prefer not to have a lifelong politician because we know the new guy doesn't owe anybody anything, as opposed to being bought out, bought and paid for. Here's the problem, though. As I told the last caller, you're only looking at lifelong politicians for the potential negativity. Sure, the new guy doesn't owe anybody anything, but he also has no favors to call in. Zero. Whereas if you need money for FEMA during a national disaster or something like that, if you got a Mitch McConnell in there, a Mitt Romney, a Nancy Pelosi, well, I can call up favors. The DNC knows that I'm responsible. Nancy Pelosi can say the DNC knows that I'm responsible for raising a ton of money. I've put a lot of Democrats in office. If we need a little extra FEMA money, it's only a phone call away. A new politician can't say that. And you may be in a position, your state may be in a position where you need more FEMA money. Maybe folks are homeless after a hurricane and the local insurance companies are refusing to take people's claims, or at the best, not filing them, not processing them very quickly. You got Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell or Chuck Schumer as a politician. They can get shit done a lot faster than some new guy who has to get on the phone and call Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell or Chuck Schumer. So I agree that there's plenty of corruption in Washington. What I disagree with is automatically assuming the lifelong guys are corrupt and the new guys are not. You can be new looking at Washington as a big lick. I'm about to go to Washington and get paid. You can do that from day one. That doesn't mean you're innocent because you just started. Just like it doesn't mean you're guilty because you've been there for a while. Maybe the whole time you've been in Washington, you've truly been trying to do some good. So I don't buy into that judgment, but I know a lot of folks nowadays instantly believe career politicians are the bad guys. I would submit to you, by getting rid of career politicians, you're getting rid of a lot of talent. Kind of reminds me of Captain Scully, the guy who landed the plane in the Hudson. Once he reached like 65 years of age, by law, just because the clock turned, he had to quit flying. You want him or you want a new guy? He's a career pilot. Who do you want flying your plane? Him one day after his 65th birthday, or some dude that's 25? I don't automatically assume getting rid of talent is a good thing, but that's my take. Look in the comments. Trump convinced his followers our justice system is the enemy. That is true. That is absolutely true. Whether it's the feds, the CIA, the NSA, because he stated that Putin knew more about what was going on in the Ukraine than our security services. Yeah, I do agree with that. that he has convinced a lot of MAGA that the enforcement community that is at the federal level is not trustworthy. I do agree with that. Real quick, looking in the comments, because that's all we talk about, the FBI, CIA. Well, Trump also had folks convinced that the FDA, which is a federal organization, Food and Drug Administration, the CDC, Center for Diseases and Control, the World Health Organization, International all of those organizations could not be trusted. He went beyond the FBI and the CIA's. I mean, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, he wasn't a big fan of them. I mean, he went above that. He went above just the CIA and FBI. Going to the box, FSU, let's try it this time. I don't know what happened last time. Talking about Biden's economy versus Trump's promises. Trump is promising to make things a hell of a lot better. FSU, you on board with the Trump train?
Absolutely not. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing good. Why not? What's wrong with Trump?
Look, man, it's just like if you wanted to check your personal health. You rely on metrics. You would go to the doctor, and you would be able to look at your health per the numbers that the doctor give you after they do blood work. Our economy has been the same way. It always has. We look at metrics to determine if our economy is in a good place. And the fact is, every Republican president in my lifetime, Trump included, has had us in a recession. Him and both Bushes. And Democrats follow those presidencies and pull us out of those recessions. This has happened. It's irrefutable. You cannot deny that. What people will say is, well, Trump, we had a pandemic. Well, it's the same pandemic he denied. It's the same pandemic that had a country like India that's 4 times larger than the United States, and they lost less people per capita than us.
So I may have asked you this before, and I've asked a few other people too. Based on what you're saying, India being a considerably more populous nation than America, but they had less.
Not just India, even third world countries, even
Mexico. But this is the question. This is a question I'm asking you based on your statement about India. Are you suggesting, in your opinion, that Trump has deaths on his hand because of his handling of the pandemic? Are you blaming him for actual American deaths?
I'm not simple-minded. It's a combination of the thing. No, number one, him denying it existed had people that follow him on planes licking armrests and not wearing, like, his rhetoric stopped people, and people can say, well, masks didn't work. Well, there's a lot of professions that wear masks, so I call BS on that. And it's not just India. It's the country above us and the country below us. Almost all countries lost more deaths per capita than the United States. People talk about Mexicans coming over the border when in 2020 we should have been going that way. You had a better chance of living, like, man, and I know it's comical, but like remote funerals and counties getting reefer trucks to put bodies because they didn't have places to put them. All of us know people. No, like I stopped counting when it got over 20. When I saw friends and families that passed, but that's not it. We were on the economy. I don't want to get sidetracked. Trump is the only president. Well, not only. It's 2. So these are historically bad. When people talk about how good of a presidency they had, it's insane. Him and Bush were the only 2 presidents that lost jobs in their presidency.
Hold on, but wait. But before the economy, before the pandemic, Trump's job numbers were phenomenal. Before the pandemic, Trump's job numbers were I think it was 3.5 unemployment. He was doing really good with that.
Are we going to count so we're going to only count part of people's presidency? Is that what we're doing now?
Good comeback. Good comeback.
Look, the fact is this, Tim, he lost his presidency. When he left office, we had less employed people than when he started. And the same for Bush. Then you can jump to wage growth. Our wage growth is at over 6%, higher than inflation right now. And then you had a previous caller talk about inflation. Guys, when you look at an economy, when people are employed, when employment rates are low, like they are now, and people make more money, guess what? Inflation goes up. And it's not just that. Inflation also rises when you have presidents, and listen, Biden and Trump, I believe, in my opinion, were very sloppy with those stimulus checks. I think way more people got them than that needed them. I think people who didn't have any employment issues should have never gotten stimulus checks. But the fact still remains, when you put that much money into the economy, it's going to cause inflation. Even if without the stimulus checks, if you had this unemployment this low and wages growing that much, there's going to be a level of inflation. Then you want to, I'm going down the line here because I heard a lot. You want to talk about gas prices. People want to give presidents gas price credit for gas prices, but they never give Obama credit. When I think about one of the things of the Obama administration and their presidency, fracking wasn't a thing prior to him. Our oil gas production was 80% higher under the Obama administration. There are some tree huggers or really left-leaning people that are against fracking because some people think they cause earthquakes and all that. Yeah. But the thing is, without that, we have drastically increased our oil production. And then Biden has piggybacked that, and we have had the highest oil production months in our history.
Why? You know something? I've heard that as well, that oil production. Hold on, hang on. I've heard that oil production is up under Biden as well. But why is gas prices not coming down?
It was highest ever in our country.
So why is gas prices so high?
First off, gas prices so high gas is at $3 per gallon. We are the number one consumer. Why do we think supply and demand stops existing when it comes to gas? $3. There are countries that pay $5 a gallon. Yeah. Well, they have liters, but there are places that pay more for fuel. But here's the thing: the Democratic administrations have increased our gas and oil production, and we're going farther on a gallon of gas. Nobody gives the Democratic Party credit for that. Because they when we are more efficient with the actual gas that we purchase, nobody takes that into consideration.
Because it's a regulation. That's why they don't like it. It's a government regulation that make cars go further. Because they are passing laws that require cars to be more efficient. Now they're going to electric. People don't like the regulations, and that usually comes from the left.
I got a couple more points, Tim, and I'm trying to talk really fast.
Real quick. Go ahead.
I heard a lot. We talk about Trump, one of the things that you're confident that he'll do under his presidency, and I completely agree with you. The border ban and the heavy deportation is one thing I can almost promise he will do. Yep. And I can almost equally promise you it will have a negative effect on his economy. This GDP that's been growing under the Biden administration and is growing under the previous Democratic presidencies. Why do we think deporting immigrants, undocumented people, is going to lead to our grocery bill being cheaper? I can guarantee you it'll be higher because the production cost is going to be higher. You're trying to deport cheap labor. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It's a lot of empty promises by the Trump administration, and I'll end with this. I'll land. I know I've been long-winded. I can almost get nobody is looking at the 10th district in Alabama. I'm surprised you hadn't had a...
Are you talking about the Democratic politician that won up there running on women's rights?
Absolutely.
We talked about it. And that's a shocker, and it could be a prelude to what may happen. I agree with you with that. Up near Huntsville.
Listen, this is fact, guys. I can almost, for a number of reasons, I could talk forever, but Trump won't win. It's not because of these cases against him. It's because he has support. He has a base. I will give him credit. MAGA is behind him, but it's not enough. He does not have enough support. Alabama 10th should be a model it's a precursor to what will happen in November. You had a district that the Republicans won prior to the Roe v. Wade decision. They won it by 7 points, and they had a special election, ironically, because the person who won that seat had voter fraud. He lost his seat because of voter fraud. This is a Republican. This is a Republican district. Has been in my life.
We've covered it on the program, and certainly because she also ran.
It's important to look at how big of a shift. He went from winning it in 2022 by 7 points to losing it by 25 points.
Yeah, it was a big shift.
I think women will decide this election, and they lean left heavily. Trump's speech today about acquiescing about abortion bans, they have to. You're never going to win a presidency advocating for abortions being banned. The women care too much about it, and rightfully so. Women have been harmed too much in our history. Too many bad things happen. Outside of them having health issues that would cause them needing access to that, but they're just harmed too much in our society, and it's just taking a choice away from the majority of people in this country, and there's no way that they're going to stand for it. Trump, the guy who was on before, said he will get less votes. I can almost guarantee it. All right.
Well, we're talking about 7 months FSU. Appreciate you coming through. And I will say this, I've asked that question on the program. There's a lot of female MAGA still out there. If Trump is so anti-women's rights, why are there so many females still supporting Trump? We will see, though. And what my last caller said could be accurate, because I do agree that a liberal winning in, Northeast Alabama, blood red area, that was a shocker. In my humble opinion, and I could be wrong, before I get into that, tap the screen, get me on up to 80,000. We've been hovering around 700 to 800 in here. Little bit less than normal, but certainly enough to have a good conversation. So tap the screen, get the algorithms up. It helps out, brings more MAGA. The program will be MAGA friendly. Always been that way since the beginning, but liberals are welcome as well. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. This is how the program has always been ran, in an uncensored format. You don't have to agree with anybody, including the host, without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, feel free to smash the follow button on TikTok and a subscription on YouTube. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when we're here. In regards to the abortion issue, my humble opinion is that anywhere abortion is on the ballot, where people can vote whether abortion should be outlawed, limited, or access should be open up to the woman and their doctor, the people are going to vote in favor of females having control of that and their doctors. I do believe that, which is why a lot of folks on the right are doing what they can to make sure there is no vote for it. You got a lot of evangelicals pushing politicians to, promote their will upon the people. And the politicians, they want to satisfy their constituents, they'll do that. But if it goes to the voters and they can decide, abortion would be legal in all 50 states. It really would. It's up to everywhere where it's banned. A politician made that decision, not the voters. Anywhere where it goes up to the voters, they're going to vote for it to be legal. And that's a problem. As my last caller was suggesting what happened in Alabama, that could be a major problem in Florida. Last week, the state of Florida, their own Supreme Court, allowed their very strict 6-week abortion ban to remain the law of the land, which basically bans abortion after 6 weeks. It's very strict because a lot of women don't even know they're pregnant by 6 weeks. So by the time they find out, it's too late already. But in addition to maintaining their 6-week abortion ban, they indicated they're going to let it go up for a vote come this November. The problem with that is twofold. One being that the people are going to get to vote on it in Florida, and you know how the votes usually go. But the bigger problem is it's going to happen while they're choosing who to vote for president. So when they show up to vote for the president, abortion is going to be on the ballot as well. Well, a lot of women that may not have shown up to vote or may have potentially, been still on the fence about Trump versus Biden, if abortion is factored in, a lot of voters going to go blue for that single issue. No different than if gun rights were on the ballot, a lot of folks would vote red for that single issue, including a bunch of Democrats. If you started talking about taking away the Second Amendment, a lot of Democrats would vote red just to preserve that right. The same applies for abortion rights. There are plenty of conservative women that are likely to vote blue just to preserve that right. So we'll see if my last caller was accurate. I do believe he will be accurate in a host of places, maybe not nationwide. Trump could still win, but I do believe that's going to matter. Looking in the comments, abortion never considers the man. That is true, Phoenix. That is absolutely true. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with I don't know what just happened there, but we'll go to Duke Vader 4. Good afternoon, Duke.
You never brought me up this quick.
Uh,
Hey, what's going
I
on,
just
my man?
happened to see your name pop up there. So we're talking about Biden's economy. What say you?
Oh, man, here we go. Biden's economy. You know, it depends on who you talk to. I've learned this here. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm going to say it's not good. I remember the years of Trump, and I've been listening to you. You know, when Trump was in office, the economy was, to me, it was good.
Right.
I'm sorry. Prices was low. Everything was affordable. You know, I mean, gas was low. Of course, and I'm going to say this before somebody get all bent out of shape. Yes, the president doesn't set gas prices, but a lot of his policies did keep things low.
Well,
Okay?
speaking
And I know,
what the president can set in his policies, since we're talking about Trump promises, now here's just some of the things he's promising. He promised to drain the swamp when he gets reelected. You think he can do that?
I think before he didn't realize what he was up against when he was in office. He wanted to drain the swamp. He used it as a campaign promise. He used a lot of things as a campaign promise, such as lock Hillary up and stuff like that. And I thought he figured once he got in, everything was going to be easier to do. But now he sees that, he sees who's his friends and who's his foes. So
I
think he just may do that, you know.
I think, though, hearing you suggest that he made these promises not knowing what he was up against, I think you've given a primary reason why folks should consider, or better yet, reconsider, avoiding lifelong politicians and putting up people who are not career politicians. You just admitted Trump went in there making a whole bunch of promises essentially based on ignorance. He didn't know this, didn't know that, so he's making all these promises about things he can never do because he doesn't have any experience.
I wouldn't call it so much ignorance.
What would you call it?
Because, you know, when I go to a job and my job says you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, you find out you're gonna do a whole lot more than what you signed up for. Am I ignorant? No, but a lot of things, I understand it's a learning process once you get in there. Obama ran on campaign promises of I'm gonna close Guantanamo Bay, but once he got in there, he found out it's not just what he thought it was. So you know, it's a learning process. No president gets 100% of what he wants.
So let me ask you, continuing on, Trump is promising to lower crime. How can he do that?
Well, you know, a lot of police departments and a lot of police are pro Trump. Okay, so there's a lot of policies and a lot of things that need to be implemented. I'm all for stop and frisk. I like that. We need in Houston. We have a very high crime rate. It got so high here, even Democrats.
Yeah, I hear your points. But you're not answering the question. Because Trump can't institute stop and frisk. What can he do to bring down crime?
No, I'm not saying he's going to institute stop and frisk. I'm saying some of those policies that people really just hate. Whatever it takes to bring down crime. Now, what policy he's going to implement, I don't know.
Okay, so is it possible? Is it possible, as you just stated, that he promised a lot of things because he didn't know what he was in for? Is it possible that he's doing it again, suggesting he can lower crime?
Once again, like I stated, and sorry for the background noise, I'm blowing the clock out. Once again, no president gets 100% of what he wants. So, yeah, if he says he's going to do this, it's going to sound like he's lying or he's failing his campaign promises. But no president gets 100% of what he wants. We just can hope that he can get at least, I'd say 20% of what he wants, and we'd be happy with that.
Okay, we're not talking about whether he can get what he wants or not. I'm talking about making promises that are essentially based on nothing. I mean, even if you want, as a president, to lower crime in Chicago, It's out of your jurisdiction. This is a promise that cannot be fulfilled. How is he suggesting he's going to lower crime? I don't understand it.
I understand you don't understand it. As a liberal, you probably wouldn't understand.
Make me understand it. As an educated Republican, make me understand it.
I didn't say you was. I didn't say you was uneducated. Don't do that, man.
I want you to help me out.
I'm stating that once you get right now, as it seems. Thank you very much, sir. As it seems right now, and I live in Houston, where the liberal Democrats. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, ma'am. The liberal Democrats are allowing these harsh offenders to get out on crimes that they should never make bond on. They should never be out on. So when Trump gets back in office, the tough policies that I don't know which one he's going to probably implement. Hold on, let me get my card. I know a lot of tough on crime policies that a lot of right-wing maybe prosecutors or politicians want to implement, then they more likely have a green light more or less. Am I answering your question?
Well, it sounds to me more like a wish than a certainty. I mean, you need the Senate and Congress to pass those tough federal laws you're talking about. President Trump is making a promise. Here's the issue. Trump is promising to drain the swamp, and he's suggesting that the swamp consists of both Republicans and Democrats. These are the people you need to pass the laws to make federal crimes or federal policies like you're suggesting to be tough on crime. You need the Senate and Congress to make mandatory minimum for this or make this a felony, whatever the case may be. You're depending on the Senate and Congress while also calling them swamp creatures. They're not going to work with you like that. This is where the issue is.
Listen, I'm gonna try to make it simple for you.
Please do.
Listen, I'm gonna try. Because I understand you're racking your brain trying to figure out how Trump is going to do this and how Trump is going to do that.
Yes, sir.
We understand Trump is not a king, okay? He's not. He's not going to get 100% of everything he's talking about. No politician that stands up there running for office, they're going to promise you the world, and they're not going to be able to come through with all of that. He's just talking to get people to come
But wait a minute. We voted Trump in because he was not a typical politician. You're making him sound like he's doing all of the things that a typical politician would do, up to and including promising the world knowing he can deliver. What am I getting wrong? Your take.
What part are you wanting President Trump to keep? I mean, what is it that you expecting him to keep? All of everything that he say, everything that Joe Biden says, and everything that Trump says, you want him to keep everything that they say, right?
I was told these other folks are typical politicians, they're swamp creatures, and we want Trump in there because he's not a typical politician. But when I asked what about his promises, you're comparing him to typical politicians. Well, the other folks don't meet all their promises either. You're making him sound like he's no different than everybody else.
Yes, sir. Once again, I answered the question earlier. When Trump first came into office, he was not a politician. Okay, he thought it was going to be different, trying to be just a businessman, run a country like a business. Now, sir, he's a politician. Okay. He's been out of office. He's been president. Whether you like this or not, he is now a politician.
Okay.
He is part of he's running for office. He's making campaign. He's learned. He's evolved. He said, I'm gonna make these campaign promises. He knows that a lot of it, you know that. You know Joe Biden ain't gonna be able to keep 100%. I know it. Trump knows it. Biden knows it. So now he's playing the game that's always been played. Yeah, I'm gonna get up there. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and he's gonna try. Now if he gets in office, does he gain control of the House and Senate? Will that be it?
We don't know. That could happen, though. That could happen.
you know, and even then, he's got some people on the so he may or may not get it all. But look, he's the forerunner of the Republican Party. He's going to go to his rallies. He's going to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Will he get 100%? No. We know that. Okay, I know that as an independent. Okay. Democrats know that Joe Biden is not going to get everything or whatever, because he's already said he wanted to do this and do that and hasn't done it, half of it. So, you know, I hope that answered your question.
That sounds, not only does that answer my question, and it makes sense, it shows that Trump is also feeding us a bunch of malarkey, as Biden would say. But I want to ask you the last question before I move it on. Trump gave a speech today clarifying things on his, you know, rolling back Roe v. Wade, because he was being put in a dark category. Rolling back Roe apparently is not very popular in this country. But President Trump stated, Democrats support abortion after the 9th month. Do you, as a Trump supporter, do you believe that's true? That Democrats support aborting a baby after 9 months.
I don't believe that they support it after 9 months, but these partial what's they call it? Partial birth abortions that they've been doing in most states is atrocious.
What is a partial birth abortion? Explain that.
It's when the baby is pretty much almost full term, and they have to, for the sake of TikTok, I'm gonna try to be TikTok friendly. They have to unalive the baby.
Why? Why are they doing that?
Because the mother wants to say not have it. They still have it. They still have a choice to either carry the baby or not, and they decide, I want an abortion at this late term, and you have to do your research on it.
I have, and that's
people who saying that it's not true. They have tried my best in most states. They have what they call partial birth abortions, and you have to look it up and see exactly what that is. But here's one thing again. You said that Trump also said that he's feeling a lot of malarkey. Hey, is it malarkey when Joe Biden said that he's going to reinstate Roe versus Wade, or what term did he use?
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know.
During one of his speeches, or he said that he's going to try to bring back Roe versus Wade.
I believe he will, but I will say this. Nobody is saying on the left that Biden is not a typical politician. We're not saying that. We expect him to do it. You guys are the ones that saying Trump is somewhat different than all politicians. They're not saying that about Biden.
Is that malarkey when he says that?
No, it's acting like a typical politician. Trump says he don't do that.
You're right. You're right, but is that malarkey that Joe Biden said that he's going to bring back Roe versus Wade? That's not going to happen.
It ain't malarkey. It ain't malarkey. It's a lie. No, it ain't ever going. Roe versus Wade is in the history book. It's a lie. Just like when Trump says he's going to lower crime, it's a lie. It's not going to happen. Drain the swamp. It's a lie. It's not going to happen.
You're right. He himself as one man cannot dictate what goes on in each state. It's the policies of each state. He is just stating that while he's in office, and you said it yourself, whatever happens while this man is in office, whether it's good or bad, he gets it.
Yep.
Okay, he gets it. A lot of people are saying Joe Biden is the cause of what's going on in Gaza Strip. It isn't that Joe Biden's doing anything in the Gaza Strip. It's just that he's in office. He's it.
No, wait a minute. When I say what happens while you're in office, I mean in this country. I can't blame the president because somebody went into Congo and chopped somebody's hand off. I'm not blaming Biden or Trump for what's happening internationally.
Have you heard the people who said on the left that it's because of Joe Biden, that support of Israel, that it's on him that they call him Genocide Joe? Yeah. Have you heard the people on the left?
And well, there's more to that. I got to move it on to Duke, but there's more to it, and that is because Biden is giving them the weapons.
But they're blaming him for it. I agree with you. He's not the cause of it, but they're going to blame him for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They're going to blame him for it.
Yeah.
That's it. They're saying, Joe, because you're standing by Israel, you are the cause of the genocide. That's what they're saying.
All
Well,
right.
hey, all right, Liberal, good talking to you, bro. Thanks for bringing me up real quick. It's a surprise.
Appreciate it, Duke. Thank you. The reason they're blaming Biden is because he is back in Israel. In fact, America's the only country on the damn planet that took forever to demand a ceasefire from Israel. I think we're now doing that. Biden has now stepped up his rhetoric, but we were last. So Biden deserves some blame on that. However, I've said this before. When it comes to the presidency, you got two choices right now. You're going to be voting between Trump and Biden. Nobody's voting for Kennedy. Kennedy's not going to win. But you got two choices between Trump and Biden. It's essentially a binary choice. You think Trump is going to handle Israel versus Gaza any different? Israel versus the Palestinians versus Hamas? You think that if Trump gets in office, he's going to demand a ceasefire? I want to point that out, and I'm talking to the Genocide Joe folks, the folks who are voting no contest in regards to Biden. If you end up holding out your vote for Biden and cause states like Michigan, Minnesota to go for Trump, and it gives Trump the electoral college votes he needs to be reelected in November, my guess is you're not going to be any happier with the results in the Middle East. None whatsoever. And you'll be partially to blame for it. I just want to point that out. Looking in the comments, Netanyahu is Trump's buddy, says Jay Goodness. I definitely believe Trump is closer in terms of an ally to Netanyahu than Biden is, 100%. Because the Obama administration was routinely criticizing Israel and speaking favorably of the Palestinians. And Biden was part of that administration. Trump came in office and moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in favor of Israel. Netanyahu is considered a right-wing president. So is Trump. So anyone deeming Biden to be Genocide Joe and opting to vote for Trump or not vote for Biden, which would also help Trump, you're not going to be happy with the results if your major issue is what's going on in Gaza. Now, you talk about gun control and gas prices and the economy and all of that shit. Different argument. But if your primary issue is voting no contest or whatever they're voting for in terms of President Biden, if you end up helping Trump become president, and that is your major issue, what's happening in Gaza, you're not going to be happy with the results of that. I can guarantee you that. Looking in the comments, Obama administration was anti-Semitic, says Kevin O'Leary. Everybody has an opinion of what anti-Semitic is. I understand. Everybody got a different opinion of that, though. Israel is behaving like some Nazis, genocide and banishment. Damn, random fandom. Israel is behaving like Nazis. Yikes. My opinion, I'll go back to the box. Thank you folks for tapping the screen. Almost 900 of you in here. Certainly put the numbers up. Might be able to cross that 100,000 mark if you let your thumbs not be lazy. On this now bright and sunny day, now that the eclipse is apparently past my area. Kind of frightening for a minute. I'm not used to seeing that shit. All of a sudden, I can see shadows from street poles and things like that. Didn't like that. Happened in the middle of the live. Anyhow, though, moving on. I stand by Israel. If you don't, you're cursed. Why? Why do I have to be cursed? My opinion is this. October 7th was awful. I know how Americans would have acted if all of a sudden we had immigrants going through San Antonio randomly shooting up people. We would have wanted to go to wherever they came from and murder a bunch of folks as well, just like we did on September 12th. Remember, folks, President George W. Bush on the rubble of the World Trade Center. I hear you. These people hear you, and all, the folks who knock these buildings down are going to hear all of us soon. We all wanted ass to be kicked after September 11. It makes sense. However, here's the problem. When you act out of anger, sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you overdo things. Now that we have the ability to Monday morning quarterback our response after September 11th, is there anybody that don't believe we overdid it? That we went in areas and killed folks that did not deserve to be killed out of anger? We were pissed off. Folks joined the military, ready to fight, ready to kick some ass. Anybody our government told us was the enemy was good to go. Well, you make mistakes like that. And in my humble opinion, just like with September 11th being a travesty, October 7th in Israel was a travesty, they are making the same mistakes, very similar to America after September 11th. You're angry, you want some ass to be kicked, overdoing it. We lost 3,000 plus on September 11th, and it spawned a war that most likely killed over 1 million people in the Middle East, over 1 million folks. You take into consideration all the deaths in all of those countries that spawned from us going over there with the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. Over 1 million folks died from that. 3,000 so died in the World Trade Center. A bunch of more died for cancer, from cancer, asbestos, and all that shit, but it wasn't nowhere near 1 million. And the same thing has happened in Israel. They lost, a little bit over 1,000 people on October 7th. They're probably approaching about 50,000 casualties in Gaza. And that's nowhere near all of them are Hamas. There's no damn way Hamas has anywhere near a 50,000 population. It's mostly innocent people, innocent folks that are roaming the streets getting sniped. They're killing folks from the air. You heard about the 7 food workers. Clearly marked vehicle. Israel, it was at night. We didn't see it. You're not going to see shit at night. Of course you didn't know. You weren't looking for it, whether it was a vehicle that was safe or not. You just saw something moving and shot it. So that is the problem, is that you can overdo it. Looking in the comments, this is a funny one. I like the funny comments. Fred, I don't see the rest of it. He says, this guy wants to be on Fox News so bad. Why can't it be CNN? MSNBC. Why does it have to be Fox? Okay, appreciate it. I don't censor, block, or ban anyone, so I do read the comments. Going back to the box. Coach Briggs, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Coach Briggs. Talking about Biden's economy versus Trump's promises. What do you think of Biden's economy, Coach?
Say that again now. I missed it there real good.
What do you think of Biden's economy?
One more time.
Biden's economy. You got a lot going on over there. What do you think of Biden's economy?
I think it has potential. I think it's slowly coming around. I don't think we should. I don't really think we should overreact in either way. I think he did a great job by maintaining it, because it could have went really bad. But I don't necessarily think it's as great as it's.
I don't know. Wait. Let me get clarity, because I don't know what you're trying to say here. What about compared to Trump's economy?
That's tough, because pre-COVID, Trump's economy was on fire for me.
Okay.
It was perfect.
All right.
It was absolutely what I needed. When COVID hit, that destroyed it.
So if you could have you can actually, in regards to your choice between Trump and Biden, if the economy was your sole reason for voting, Trump or Biden handling of the economy, who would you vote for?
Trump.
Okay. So is it safe to assume come November, Trump has your vote? What am I missing?
I'll tell you what. Here's where I am. The social policy of the Democrats is some things are a bit too much, and I don't want to get you live cut or anything like that, but I
need an example, though. You can't just say it without an example. Use a synonym, whatever you got to do, get your point across. You said the Democrats, their social policies are, basically something that would disqualify you from voting for them. Am I getting that right?
Well, when it comes to the LGBTQ community,
okay,
and what's being I feel like we're being force fed a lot of it. You know, what's normal, what used to be normal, is no longer normal, and what you want for your grandkids, I may not want for my grandkids.
Okay.
I'm not a teacher, but I'm in the school system as a football coach, and when you have to get schooled on pronouns, and if you slip up, then your job is on the line.
Wow.
You know, that's a bit much. You know what I'm saying?
So would you prefer if the LGBT community was banned in schools, where born a boy got to be a boy, born a girl got to be a girl, we don't acknowledge anything else?
I would.
Okay.
I mean, I hate to sound negative for that, but I mean, I don't think I should be punished for calling a young boy if that's what I see in my face.
Right. Hey,
You know.
there's a lot of folks that also agree with you. So in regards to the Democratic policies, is there anything else other than them being a strong ally of the LGBT community? Because the Democrats is a strong ally to the point where you're saying it almost disqualifies your vote. Is there anything else the Democrats seem to be for that is really disqualifying you from ever looking towards their direction?
Well, I don't go all the way to the edge when it comes to the border, because I don't convolute two things that it seems like the Republicans are trying to convolute two things by saying, oh, we got to get out of Ukraine and bring all that money back here and take care of the border. I don't think they're the same thing, because the war and what's going on in Ukraine is important. We can't walk away from that. This from coming from my military background. We cannot walk around for that.
Let me get clarity in this. So Trump wants to stop using our funding, our weapons, our assistance in helping Ukraine. He wants America hands off. You're saying you disagree with that?
I disagree with it, because if you look at that region, if Putin takes over Ukraine, there's a reason that I believe Belarus will come in with them, and we will still be there. We may go away like Trump wants, but once Putin gets control of Ukraine, we're gonna be right back over there, brother. Believe that. And then it gives an actor like Xi, it gives him more confidence to say, okay, well, you're willing to walk away from that. Now let's take care of this transatlantic trade. I'm gonna attack Taiwan.
Wow. So let me, you're an interesting guest. Okay, we talked about the economy. We talked about Ukraine. Now, another big argument is women's reproductive rights, abortion, being illegal in some states versus being legal nationwide. Where do you stand on that? Because you make for an interesting guest. You sound like you lean right, and you have some liberal sides as well. But in regards to abortion, where do you stand on that? Do you believe returning that to the states is favorable?
I actually am more. I'll give you before the ban was put, I was in the camp of I 100% don't believe in. I don't believe in an abortion.
Okay.
I don't think you should have an abortion. But here's the caveat. I don't think I should make that decision for you.
Okay.
That is not for me to make a decision for you and what you want to do with your body. If you choose to do it, you have to deal with your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't have to.
But you do understand that Trump, if Trump is reelected, he does believe that the states should have the option of making that decision for women.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. I understand that. But I mean, like you said, law of the land is the law of the land. Is Biden really going to be able to bring that back?
Well, he wouldn't have to if Trump hadn't changed it around. He didn't need to do that. Trump is the one that made it, so now you need to be able to bring it back.
Well, I mean, I'm on the side of being against abortion, but yeah, I agree. I don't know, man. I kind of it's kind of rough. I'm here in the state of North Carolina, and I used to live in Virginia. And I'm in the camp. What bothers me about the abortion thing is if you believe, and if I'm a person that believes that you should have the child, other than incest or rape or whatever, if you do have the child, I'm not the person that's going to say, okay, you have to have the baby, but 9 months from now, I'm going to take your SNAP and I'm going to take your benefits away from you. And those type of Republicans drive me absolutely crazy, because you're saying, oh, you got to have it on one hand, and then on the other hand, oh, I'm not taking care of that baby. Mm-hmm. So,
You like I said, you make for a very interesting guest. So I just have to ask you, based on, because you got opinions on both sides of the aisle, based on what you're seeing right now, 7 months out, where are you leaning towards, Trump or Biden? Which side do you seem to be leaning more towards?
I still seem to be leaning more towards Trump.
Okay. Now, and the reason I'm asking this is obviously a lot of things you do not favor. You're going to get them out of Trump, such as the removal of SNAP. The Republican Party is a self-reliance, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So if they prevent a woman from having an abortion, they're not expecting in 9 months to help her out with that baby in any way. She should have thought about that before she opened up her legs. So you're voting for a lot of things that you don't believe are in the interest of women or yourself.
But here's the thing. Liberal. It's like this. I always weigh what is the most important thing that's going to affect me, in my immediate family. Unfortunately, I can't worry about everybody else. I have to control what I can control, and I can only control me, my grandkids, my kids, and what's around me.
Okay.
So if Trump policy is going to benefit my kids and my family more than the Democratic policies, then that's the way I have to lean. I'll give you an example. When I was first able to vote, I was in the Navy, and we were in Charleston, South Carolina, and I had my mom and dad Democrat.
Okay.
I was on a frigate, and George H.W. Bush came to the base, and we were already complaining about BAQ. A lot of us couldn't live off of base because the money wasn't there. The BAQ money wasn't there. And when we went out to sea, we went to like Guantanamo, only certain people got hazardous duty pay. Well, HW came down and they were explaining the amount of money that he was going to put into the military and how much it would help us. He got my vote because at that time
you were in the military.
That's what I needed.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you this. I do got to move it on, but I want to ask you one last question, because you're talking about voting based on your own interests. In the comments, user 911 says Dems, and I'm assuming he's African American like yourself, and you are African American, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Because you're talking about voting based on your own interests. According to user 911, he says Dems gave me the right to vote. I would have to be the biggest ingrate to vote against them. How do you respond to something like that?
Well, that makes no sense. So ask him this: if he has a full-time job where he's working his butt off and he's taking care of his family, his wife is his wife, his kids he knows the difference between a girl and a boy. He was raised in a home where you worked hard, and he's doing well, and he's making a pretty decent amount of money. Why? What about his bottom line is going to help him voting for the Democratic.
Well, the point he's making is he's referencing civil rights and things like that and saying that you've now put, as an African American, this is what I'm interpreting. Maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm interpreting it as, now that blacks have civil rights, they're actually putting money in the economy over people who might take and roll back their civil rights. That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't get the fact that I understand. I appreciate what my parents went through and what my grandparents went through to get me to this point. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: if one party is benefiting my bottom line, and I can parlay what I'm getting from that party to continue my family and to invest and make my family better, then why would I cut off my nose and spite my face just because somebody gave me the right to vote? They gave me the right to make the decision that's gonna help me.
Okay, so you don't hear what I'm saying. He's saying that there's a fear that they may try to roll back the rights that you once got, like civil rights.
Well, that's why we have down ballot, Mr. Liberal. That's why we have down ballot. Everybody's talking about Trump, but Trump at the end of the day is not the bottom line. Joe Biden at the end of the day is not the bottom line. I get so tired of people hearing people argue about Trump and Biden, but yet they don't understand that policy is made from top to bottom. And so these people that say stuff like that, you'll go invite and vote for Biden and then not pay attention to anybody in your local government.
I would be more inclined to agree with your point if Trump was not solely responsible for rolling back Roe v. Wade. You know, it didn't happen with lower politicians. He appointed the right Supreme Court justices and boom, here we are. Skipped over all of that lower down ballot stuff. So I don't know if I totally agree with what you're saying. If that hadn't happened, because often folks say, listen, the civil rights era is in the past, you need to get over it. It could never happen. The same was being said about Roe v. Wade, and here we are. So I hear your point, but we've seen with Roe v. Wade, you don't need a whole lot of down ballot politicians to do a lot of reversing of history. We've seen it happen with Roe v. Wade.
Well, one more thing that I will say, and this is directly to the Republican Party, because like I said, I voted Democratic and I voted Republican.
Okay.
I think that the party with the smartest end game right now is the Democratic Party, and I'll tell you why. And I'm going to use Gavin Newsom. Beyond Trump, where does the Republican, not MAGA, but where does the Republican Party go in 4 years beyond Trump? I believe Gavin Newsom is going to be the Democrats' answer. I think California, unfortunately, it's me, I think California is the blueprint of what they want the nation to be. And I think Gavin Newsom is going to be the catalyst for that. And I think that's what the Democratic Party's end game is, whether Trump wins or not.
All right. I got to move it on, Coach Briggs. Appreciate you coming on. I will answer your question or tackle your statement on the other side. Thank you for coming through. Now, real quick before we go back to the box, thank you, folks, for tapping the screen. Your appreciation is always, certainly your participation, rather, is always appreciated. 102,000. Thank you for tapping the screen. Nearly 1,000 of you in here. Certainly continue tapping that screen. 110,000 likes, if you will. My YouTube audience, not as much on smashing that like button. I don't get the same appreciation on YouTube, but I do appreciate you guys that are here as well. Where does the Republican Party go after Trump? It really depends on whether he wins or loses, in my humble opinion. I don't think that matters as much with the Democratic Party. If Biden loses in 2024, later this year, they'll try to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, block Trump as much as they can, and try again in 2028. That's the outcome of the Democratic Party, even if they lose. The Trump side of the aisle, the Republican side of the aisle, in my opinion, is different. And I say this because it has literally been broken in half. There are Republicans and there are MAGA. Republicans are not big fans of Trump. MAGA is not big fans of the Republican Party. In fact, MAGA believes a lot of the traditional Republicans are swamp creatures. So if Trump wins, the goal is going to be to get rid of most of the traditional Republicans and replace them with MAGA sympathetic politicians. If Trump loses, the remaining half of the Republican Party is going to continue fighting with what's left of MAGA until they can get that completely out of their system. It's going to be a mess. Now, if Trump wins, like I said, we'll have MAGA for all, and that'll be the end of traditional Republicans. That'll really be the end of them for a while. But if he loses, it's a mess. It's a mess because some folks are probably going to believe that traditional Republicans are responsible for the loss. The Democrats cheated. The system was against them. And there'll still be some of that infighting. Traditional Republicans will probably suggest, you see, he lost. You guys need to get that out of your system. He's not good for the party. And the remaining MAGA will still continue pushing against traditional Republicans. Could be a mess for a long time. So it really depends on whether Trump loses or wins for the Republican Party. Democrats will be the same no matter whether they win or lose. It's just more the same. Looking in the comments, Kennedy 2024. Good luck with that, Derek. Good luck with that. When you don't understand Trump didn't lose, it was all about ballot harvesting that made Joe Biden win. True facts. Got a hole, like the name, but in regards to ballot harvesting is the reason Biden won and Trump lost, and that's quote-unquote true facts. If it was true facts, more of the Republican Party would be echoing that true fact. Trump's administration, Trump's own administration, people who would have gotten 4 more years in office, Vice President Pence, 4 more years in office, could have ran for president in 2028. If they are not saying that Biden stole the election, that's notable. That is notable. Why his own administration is not saying he won. Is there a single Republican governor in this nation that suggests that Trump won the 2020 election? One governor. Is there a single governor on the Republican side of the aisle? Overwhelming majority of Republican senators say Trump lost. Most Congress on the Republican side, perhaps minus Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene, they all think he lost. So the idea that ballot harvesting prevented Trump from winning, I got to present to you the Republican Party as a rebuttal. I didn't mention any liberals at all, not giving liberals any say-so in this. The overwhelming majority of Republicans in Washington who would have benefited from Trump winning the second term say he lost. I don't know any ballot official that say Trump won. No judges. The Supreme Court believes he lost. You and I, folks, we don't have access to this shit. They do. The people with actual inside assets all say Trump lost. Who am I to tell them they're wrong? Even if they are, maybe they're wrong, but how do I know? What am I supposed to do? Tell the people who have access they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and I do? Name Barbara. I never thought about that GOP is going to have a rough time mending and turning all those so-called rhinos back into Republicans. Thank you for the super chat, name. Always, thank you, man. Appreciate that support you always drop through. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. I don't like bringing up Hitler because I'm not trying to compare the Republican Party to Hitler by any means, but there is a similarity in terms of what happened. After Germany was defeated, there was an effort to get Nazi mentality out of Germany. Now, I'm not saying that Trump has any of this shit, so don't come to me saying I'm comparing them to Nazis. That's not what I'm saying. But after a mindset is defeated, it takes time. The people aren't going to give that up. No different than when civil rights was allocated for minorities in this country. It took a long time for some people to accept that. Just because you pass a law Doesn't mean you change what's in people's hearts and minds. It took a long time for people to accept, all right, I got to treat them like everybody damn else. I'm not cool with this shit, but I don't want to get locked up or sued for continuing to fuck with these people. So finally, but it took time. And I do believe that that will happen if Trump loses. Because see somebody comment said still have it. Okay, all right, I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, it's gonna take time. And let's be clear, even if Trump loses, it's not like he's gonna go away. He still has plenty of money, plenty of assets, plenty of power. So he can still pick off sniper-like GOP members that he don't like at random. He still will be able to sway folks, show up at political rallies and things like that. So he still will likely be attacking Republicans for most of his remaining life, unless some type of law is passed. Let's say he loses in some of these court cases. As opposed to locking him up, they demand he stay out of the political arena for the rest of his life, or he, hold that over his head like parole or something like that. That could happen. We're not going to lock you up, but if we see you at a rally, we hear about you tweeting out about politicians or any of that shit, very similar to what they did to some of the January 6th protesters, for lack of a better term. They were told, stay off of websites, basically shut the fuck up on the internet. If we hear about you tweeting out something, being on the wrong website, we're coming back to lock you up. They could do that to President Trump because he still will have a significant amount of power to sway elections, down ballot elections, show up at rallies and things like that. So, but like I said, it's going to take some time, even if Trump loses, to get the MAGA side of the party neutralized. Because they're going to still be trying to neutralize all of what they refer to as the rhinos. They'll still be battling. And you're going to see books. You talk about books and interviews. There's a lot of folks. And you guys may disagree with this. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So think I'm full of shit in the comments. Feel free to state it. There's going to be a hell of a lot of folks coming forward and saying, I wanted to say this. I wanted to warn people about that. I wanted to stop this, but I was scared. There's a lot of folks like that out there because whether you favor Trump or whether you don't like the guy, he does have the power to destroy careers. You start speaking negatively of Trump, you're getting death threats and shit like that. So a lot of folks, if Trump doesn't win, it'll be like, I hate making these horrible comparisons, but when one person says something about Bill Cosby, all of a sudden all these folks start coming up. That's what's going to happen. A lot of folks are going to come up, well, I wanted to say this, or I tried to stop that, and I didn't, writing books. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be, and then, of course, MAGA is going to suggest they're all bullshit. They're all on the take. You running for office, you trying to write a book, you trying to get money from a documentary. And it'll continue on for a while. So it'll be interesting. It will be interesting. Probably the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest dispute, the biggest argument, follow the money, folks. Right now, President Trump has a family member, I think it's a daughter-in-law, as one of the head of the RNC. Most of the money going into the Republican National Convention is now going to Trump, legal fees and things like that. Listen, if you favor MAGA, you want the guy to get away from these bullshit charges. You believe the charges are all bullshit. I get it. However, there is a lot of down ballot Republicans, Congress, senators, city council, folks running for Republican nomination in 2024 along with Trump that could use some of that money. Trump is siphoning off most of the money from the RNC. If he loses, that is another major issue that's going to come up. A hell of a lot of losing senators, congressional folks. Look, I could have won in my state. We got some bullshit from the liberals, but because I couldn't afford much airtime because all the money was going to Trump, that's going to come up. Because he is siphoning off all of the money from the RNC going to one man. If that man wins, you'll get the country you want. But if that man loses, you literally are betting all your money on one guy. So that also will come up. I think that may come up even if Trump wins. Some Republicans are going to suggest that because all of the money was going to Trump, they didn't win in their state, in their district, and all. I still think that's going to come up because he is siphoning off a hell of a lot of the RNC funds. He really is. You got to assume some of the lower ballot politicians are complaining about that. Going back to the box, though, talking about Biden's economy versus Trump's promises. Big Rex, I don't know, I think King in there. I don't know what just happened there. Let's try it again. Our blue wave will drown the red areas. I don't know about that. King Finn, good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, man? You finally let me up.
I appreciate you holding, man. I'll give you the floor for a minute. You've been listening in. What say you?
All right. So I'm going to just start off with the most obvious points that I get really tired of hearing from people who call in and talk shit to you, right?
Okay.
Gas prices. You have been touting, and it ain't your fault, because I'm pretty sure you probably just something you caught from one of their bullshit, their bullshit sayings. Gas prices have not been $2 since 2007 or 2013, within those years. So let's stop with the bullshit about Trump's gas prices were lower. No, they weren't.
Wait a minute, hold on, hang on. I'm willing to buy into the argument that gas was not averaging $2 a gallon under Trump, but suggesting that gas was not lower under Trump, that's not true, is it?
I'm pretty much sure that that is very much true. It's not lower.
You think gas prices right now?
I've been paying the same $2 to $3 here in Minnesota for the last 7 to 8 years. It has not been lower. It has not been higher than $2, $3 maybe. And that was not due to Trump. Even before COVID, and everybody stopped going places. It wasn't Trump, dude. No. Let's stop the bullshit. Please stop the bullshit.
All right,
stop the bullshit.
Okay, I gotta disagree with that.
There's like 5 other creators on TikTok that will tell you the same thing with the numbers. It's been lower. Come on, man. Anyway, we're gonna go to the next topic.
Yeah, we disagree on that one, but go to the next one.
That's fine. The Republican Party is definitely setting up, because there have definitely been other Republicans who won't name names, but I can definitely tell you that they are definitely trying to pull back women's rights. Yes, they are. A couple of them have been caught saying things on a hot mic like, oh, well, we don't want them to vote anyway. Oh, they should just stay home, be pregnant, and take care of the kids. This is their mindset. They want to go back to Mad Men, where women stayed home, took care of kids, and had them a cooked dish on the table every damn night. Now,
wait a minute. If the Republican Party, as you say, wants to roll back women's rights, why are they getting so many female voters? Are women dumb?
I couldn't tell you to save my life, because I don't understand what these women's problem is. If you look at it and say, oh, I don't want a woman to have the idea or the respect. I don't have no respect for this woman to let her and her doctor choose. Why in the hell would you think they have anything good coming for them? Because I wouldn't believe that. If you told me as a black man in America in 2024, if you told me I want everything to go back to how it was before civil rights, what the hell do you think I'm gonna think?
Well, then, based on your statement about going back, I get that question all the time, so I'll let you tackle it. What does the phrase "Make America Great Again" mean to you?
I don't know, because it ain't never been great for me. I'm confused, because everything I've known about American history is that Christopher Columbus is a damn lie. He came over to America, conquered the Indians, killed a whole bunch of them, and then called this country that he killed all this America. So I don't know when it was great. It wasn't great in the 60s, it wasn't great in the 50s, it wasn't great in the Depression. Damn sure it wasn't great in the 80s or 90s when it was still killing us without no type of anything. It's not, it ain't been great in the last 10 years.
Wow.
Like I add George Floyd to the equation, Michael, Tamir. Do we have to keep going there? So when was it great? I have no idea. It's not even great today, because damn it, hey, look, I'm not the only person that sees these things. Like the young man, and his brother, down in, was that Louisiana, and the white woman completely tased him one time on the ground, get him out of his car, and threw a whole bunch of bogus ass charges on him.
But King, I gotta push back, because you're talking about a white woman macing some African Americans. I'm gonna ask you this, and you let me know what you. Yeah, but tase them. Let me ask you this: Do we as African Americans only focus on being victimized when the victimizer is white? I mean, there's a lot of blacks killing other blacks all over America.
No, I don't do that, because I'm also from Flint, Michigan. So I've definitely seen the gang violence. I've definitely seen the drug gang violence, the violence of just being in the hood. I'm not finna sit here and say I ain't never seen a black man kill another black man, because that'd be a damn lie. Okay, but it has a lot to do with the thing that I see. It has a lot to do with being killed by the people that we are paying and supposed to be able to trust. Because on that badge, on those cars, those squad cars, it says protect and serve. But I ain't seeing no protect and serve. Okay, I ain't saying that all cops are bad, because that would be bullshit.
So then you should be King, you should be voting for Trump. He's the one that's suggesting the police and law enforcement is not acting right.
I would chop both my legs off first. Ain't no way in hell I vote for Trump. No way. I'm sorry. I would much rather have my established Democrat, my established political person in there, other than some damn game show host who should have never been here. Because in my point of view, I was sitting back on election night like, dude, I can't believe they actually let this dude run. That's kind of cool. But when he won, I was like, wait, y'all actually put a game show host as a president? Are you kidding me right now? A game show host. Not to mention all of the messed up stuff that he did.
But many folks, you talk Trump being a game show host, winning the presidency. Many folks think he did a pretty damn good job, though, King.
That's great in their eyes, but let's look at the facts. COVID response. I'm not blaming the COVID on him, but I'm damn sure he knew about it 19 months before he hit America. He didn't do a damn thing. Yeah. What did he do? He lied about it. Oh, it's just gonna go away. Oh, you can inject. Why don't we try to use UV light to fix it? Oh yeah, you should drink. Maybe if you put what do you say, Lysol, the bleach in your body, it'll get rid of it. I've seen very good things happen with that. Bro, really? The Charleston stuff. The tiki torches. Oh yeah, it was good. Some good people on both sides.
So wait, but you don't see a racial element to Trump, do you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I believe he's a very good racist. And I'm not saying that the whole Republican Party is racist, because I am a liberal, but I do see the worst of the Republican Party, not the MAGA Party, the Republican Party. Back when Bush Sr. and Bush Jr. were in office, I didn't exactly like neither one of the Bushes like that, but I did respect them because I believed that they cared. Okay, Ronald Reagan, one of the worst economies in America, and all I can remember is my mom and them saying, "Damn, this Reaganomics is horrible."
Yeah, but you're saying Trump is a racist. That guy, as a Republican, has more of the black vote than, as you mentioned, Reagan, both Bushes. If he's a racist, why the hell are so many black folks voting for him?
I don't know these black folks that you say are voting for him.
Just look at his numbers in 2016. Even back then, he did better with blacks than Reagan and George W. and George H.W.
I don't know who these black people are who are voting for him, but I can tell you now, if I did, I probably wouldn't know.
All right.
That's a done deal.
I don't know.
I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I see.
Anytime they tell you these boys in Central Park 5 was innocent and they had gotten exonerated, and he's still putting out ads about hanging these boys, or the fact that all the stuff he did with the casinos that failed, where any of the colored workers, I'm gonna say color because I ain't just saying black. I'm talking about the Indians, the Native Americans, any of the colored employees, the people of the color. That's what the correct term is. Any of them on the floor need to leave and walk out.
I don't know. The man, like I said, the man still. I do got to move it on King, though, but that man does have a large amount of African-American support compared to his Republican predecessors. We'll see. We'll see.
If he does, we'll see, because I'm pretty sure Trump will person. He's going. And all that money that you was just talking about for the Republican Party, that shit's already happening. Yeah. And they're already Republicans starting to lose races and not have funding. That shit's already happening.
I believe that. I actually believe that. I do believe.
They need the ghost. They need the ghost of John McCain, Reagan, and Bush Sr. to come haunt all these Republicans back to their correct damn mind. Because Trump is a brainwashing parasite on the American political campus or the scene that's taking over people's brains, and they're brainwashed. And the only thing they think about is their bottom line and hating on gay people. Because that's all you hear them say. Oh, my money was better, and I don't like the fact that I gotta call they, them, and them, they. Hey man, that ain't your damn business, first of all. If you have respect for one another and have respect for those people who feel like they're in this situation, what's the damn problem? Call them they and him her if that's what they want to be called. Because ain't nobody calling you out your damn name.
I gotta go, but I'll respond. I gotta go, but I'll respond to that on the other side. That's a complex issue. Appreciate it, King. You know how we do.
Have a good day, man.
You too. Now, I will say this. Thank you, King. I will say this. Look, listen, I'm 50 plus. I mean, you see what you're looking at. I'm an old man shit. The they, them, and I do consider myself an LGBT ally. I'm pro-LGBT. Like my last call, I don't believe if it ain't affecting you, who gives a damn? But I will say this. It is difficult to teach an old dog new tricks, as they say. I grew up believing that they and them was a plural word. It is very difficult. You know, I've did my 12 years in school, 2 more years to get a damn associate's degree, another 2 to get a bachelor's, and another 2 to get a master's. So I did a significant amount of school. And during none of that time was I ever told they or them was something you could use in singular form. So even to this day, for me personally, it is very difficult to adjust to the word they and them meaning one person. Perfect example, I get a call from one of my friends. I need you to come over here because they trying to kick my ass. I show up and this one dude fighting you. I'm out of here. You told me they was trying to whip your ass. I show up as one dude. That doesn't match my grammatical teachings. So it is challenging to go with the theys and thems. Look, if you want to be called that, I understand. I don't have any issue with you being whatever you want to go by. However, where I do have an issue, even as somebody who leans left and consider myself an ally of the community, it's when folks of the community start criticizing folks and going off on them for forgetting, not refusing, forgetting to call them they or them. I had a girl, I went into a live, very far left progressive live. I used to go into more progressive lives. Now most of the lives I go visit are MAGA, far right. I enjoy the opposing opinion. And this case, I was in an LGBT live, and this person was debating with me, and I called her she a few times. It was a picture of a person in the box. You're talking to a woman clear as day. And the person was arguing with me because I was forgetting to call them they or them. Several times I did apologize. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember to do that, but your pronoun doesn't match what I'm looking at. It's like a dealership getting pissed off that you won't call a Cadillac a horse. I hate saying this shit because folks think you're an anti-LGBT, you're an anti-ally. But it goes against what you're looking at. I'm looking at a woman telling me to call her they. I'm apologizing every time I refer to this person as she or her. But I'm telling her, we're in a passionate conversation. You look like a woman. I'm going to say she or her. It's really difficult. So it is a challenge. And I would submit to you that the LGBT community does not do themselves any favors when they start going apeshit of someone making a mistake of calling them the wrong pronoun. It's going to take time. It doesn't mean everybody is not an ally, but it's going to take time, particularly when you're going against basically grammar. I mean, you're going against what the dictionary taught. When I was a kid, if you had referred to a human being as a they or a them, you would have failed in English. It was a completely different time. So I do believe the LGBT community needs to understand that and be a bit more patient with the regular I won't say anti-LGBT community, but folks that are not members of the anti-LGBT community. Because by being so hard on folks for making mistakes, you can literally create folks that are anti your community. And I do believe that is what's happening in a lot of cases. Like the guy who called in a couple callers back and said he's a coach and he don't believe it should be in schools where teachers are being punished with it. I'm fine with children of the LGBT community because I do believe a person knows they're gay a lot sooner than they do coming out of school. I don't think by the time you're a senior about to graduate from high school, you knew you were gay long before that. So I don't believe you should ignore that. But at the same time, if the teacher makes a mistake and calls somebody them or he or she and they should be they or them, I don't believe the teacher should be, ostracized or punished for that. And that's what the guy was suggesting, is that as a coach, I got they and them members on my team that are, criticizing me for forgetting to do it. I think the LGBT community would do themselves a big favor and back off on that. It'll come, but it takes time. Like I said, it goes against hundreds of years of grammatical teachings. It goes against every damn thing. It's very, very new. Looking in the comments, don't talk to me if you think I'm going to try and figure out what you are. Well, I don't want to go that far, but I have spoke to folks before and walked away thinking, what was that? What is that? I mean, some people you can't always tell what you're visually looking. Is that a man or a woman? Like, what is that? You don't want to come out and say something that's going to offend somebody, because nowadays you call somebody the wrong thing, they're greatly offended by it. So I don't think it does the LGBT community any good by going off on every damn body. Anyhow, looking in the comments, I ain't playing that game with them. And that's what a lot of folks on the right are saying. I'm not going to deal with all of that. They, them, there as a singular dates back to Shakespeare, says Boom Cloud. It doesn't date back to the teachings of the United States. I wasn't in England. In America, they, them, and there was not used in singular form to be in reference to one person. I don't know what was happening in Shakespearean England, but in America, that never was the case. Trumpers create scenarios that don't exist. I believe both sides do that. I agree with you, but I believe both sides do that. That's referred to as fear-mongering. They normally hang. I'm in the U.S. I don't know if you're suggesting that because you're in the U.S., you know that. Going back to the box, though, Big Rex was on hold. When a person talks too much, they learn little. I don't quite get your point, but I do agree with you that you can learn very little by talking too much. Having said that, I'll go right back to the box. It was in America because she was only standardized in the 19th century. Why bring up Shakespearean English? Ain't nobody talking like Shakespeare. I mean, you read Shakespeare, listen how they talk, Romeo, thou art. Ain't nobody talking like that. Why bring that up? Really? Don't nobody walk around. If somebody walked around talking like Shakespeare, to get their ass beat. Nobody walk around talking like that. It's humorous, but nobody does that. Go walk up to a chick and try to holler at her talking that shit and see how far they get you. It would be fun to talk like that. Yeah, it would be. but you might be the butt of the joke as opposed to having fun. The Bible does. Yeah, go talk to folks like what's in the Bible. Go talk to them like that and see how they, thou shalt not give you my number. See how that works. See how that works out. We is maggots. We can't read no ways. Trump ain't done nothing. Trump for... All right, I get your point, Django. Django's angry son. Yikes. I'd be in that in minutes, man. Okay, let me go back to the box. Yeah, but I don't think that the Shakespeare thing, that's comical to me. Good afternoon. Did I bring somebody up? I'm having some problems with the box. Let me try it again. See if we can clear it out. We'll go to I don't know what just happened there. And we'll try to Clinton. I think it is Penn. What did I just click on? How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Yeah, exactly. It sounds cute. Penfish, good afternoon.
Hey, handsome. Hey, man, I'm sorry. I've been listening to you for about an hour and enjoying the back and forth on everything, but I'm driving now. So I'm going to let you know I'm in my car.
Okay. Yeah, and it's definitely playing games with your signal. I'll give you the floor, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I listened to a lot of your stuff and back and forth, and I was more or less, while I would vote for Trump, it's not because I'm a MAGA, and it's not because I'm a racist, it's not because I've got all these traits. I'm a very level, playing field guy.
Okay.
I was raised in a poor environment. I went to middle school at a predominantly black neighborhood. Okay. And most of my friends in that case were African American. They were black. Okay. And so I didn't know what prejudice was or racism is, because to me everybody was just people. And when I hear people talk about it today, and especially on these other links.
Real quick though, let me just ask real quick. What part of the country were you in? You're living around blacks. What part of the country were you in?
It was in North Florida.
Okay, so you do realize the history of North Florida. So even though you may have not seen it, it likely was happening right in your area.
Oh yeah, but I was living in it. You see, yeah. I went to the school with the kids of the parents living through it. So
okay.
I'll put it this way: the school I went through was called Shadeville. All right, it wasn't Whiteville. All right, it was Shadeville. And everybody who lived in that community predominantly were black. Okay. Now, I lived just outside of that district, but because of that, I still went to that school.
Okay.
That's where the school bus picked me up. By the way, one of my favorite teachers of all time was Miss Green, my kindergarten teacher, a black lady, and I thought the world of her. I mean, she was the best teacher I ever had, and this was kindergarten. I'm like you, I'm 58 years old now.
Okay. So you're talking the late 60s in northern Florida.
Yes, sir.
Racist as hell. You do realize that, right? That would have been racist as hell back then.
Yeah, but see, when I grew up, I didn't look at nobody different, bro. I played football with them. I played tag with them. I did, I had school with them. I took classes with them. I went to lunch with them. It wasn't nothing. I don't know. And maybe.
Well, but you do realize the horrible racist history of this country. Most of that is not at the kindergarten level. It's adults treating people bad. It's not kids.
Well, you're right, and you know what? They continue to do it now, and it needs to stop, man.
Right.
I think the more people talk about it, the longer it's going to hang around. It almost like let it go. What happened 100 years ago or 150 years ago ain't happening now.
But Panfish, you were not in northern Florida 100 years ago. It was happening when you were around. It's not 100 years ago. I mean, if you're 58, you came up right after the civil rights era. Well, you would have been born somewhere around in that 64 era.
Right after.
Yeah, so you when you were born, folks were not accepting the Civil Rights Act. It had just passed a year or so ago. People weren't accepting that then.
Yeah, but see,
we still talk about it today like it's still a problem. Everybody can vote. Everybody can drink out of the same water fountain. Now, everybody can go to the same restaurant. Everybody can fly on the same airplane. Everybody can go to the same football game in the same seat, in the same stadium. And if you can afford the ticket in the highfalutin box, they don't care if you're white, brown, purple, or green.
Do you believe, folks, one of the biggest issues with racism people often suggest is that the police target or mistreat African Americans as opposed to whites. Do you believe there's any validity to that in 2024?
I believe there still could be some blinded representation of racism through cops just on their track record. And I'll tell you, you look at what's the leading cause of a young black man's death today?
Another black man.
Yeah. When you look at the number of blacks in prison, they exceed what the ratio per capita in population they are to whites. Okay. Now, is that because the blacks are being targeted by officers more? Maybe. It could be the case.
Well, I think I'll answer that. So why there are more blacks, 50% of the prison population is black, damn near, even though the population outside of prison is only about 15% black. Poverty being one. Number two is there's a significant amount of blacks committing crime. So I'm not going to I'm not going to downplay that. But black communities are over policed. When blacks go before a judge, I think the evidence shows their sentence they receive is worse than whites. They do receive a worse. I mean, you're talking about the war on drugs, which predominantly targeted African Americans, where you talk about crack cocaine receiving mandatory minimums, when if you have crack, only about 10% of a crack rock is actually an illegal substance, whereas somebody with an actual packet of cocaine, which is 100% illegal, did not face the same mandatory minimums as a person with crack. The war on drugs alone was so disproportionately targeting minorities, and a lot of them folks are still alive. That's why I corrected you when you said it was hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And back to some of the policies, and people always ask, what policies did Trump do that helped poor people or minority groups? Well, I think he jumped right in there with prison reform because of that reason. He said there's no reason why an African or anybody should be sitting in jail because they had an ounce of crack.
Did he pass a law though? Did he pass any law?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that he passed any laws, but he did have policies out where he said we need prison reform. And I know there was a lot of black prisoners that were released that came out thanking Trump, saying if it wasn't for Trump, I'd still be in jail.
Yeah, but if he didn't pass any law to make it the law of the land, it's not reform. What he did was offer, an olive branch to some folks during his term. But if what he did during his term is still not the law today, or if we can't show where Biden overrid it, it'll be, now if he passed a law, executive action or something, and Biden got in there and tore it down, then we could bring that up. But I would not give him credit for prison reform, because there's no law he can point to.
Well, like anything, and even with Biden, like with the border and the Ukraine deal, anytime you try to bring up something that you feel might help something, if you don't have 100% participation in the Congress and the Senate, it can be shot down on both sides of the party.
That is true.
And that probably was what happened. That's probably what happened because, the opposite party never wants the existing party to be successful while they're in office.
100% agree. But I'll tell you this, Trump, via executive action, if he truly believed folks were, doing time in prison, even though he couldn't maybe get the cooperation of the Senate and Congress like you're suggesting, he could have passed law. Anybody that's currently serving a federal sentence for marijuana, I hereby pardon you. He could have done that. I mean, there's a whole lot of federal convicts that he could have passed executive action and freed them. I don't recall a whole bunch of folks saying that I got out. There's some, but it's minuscule. There's not a lot of folks bragging that they got out under Trump.
Yeah, it ain't a ton.
Yeah.
It ain't a lot.
Yeah. So, All right. Well,
You know,
go ahead.
and we talked about earlier, that you mentioned Kamala about. I just wanted to make a quick comment about her being vice president. I got to be honest, if you look at what happened in Iowa in the primary, she was out in the first round with 1% of the votes from the Democrats. So even the left side wasn't favorable to her.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And no Republicans like her. Okay, so if you're looking at her as the potential president, who is she serving?
Well, you could have high unfavorable numbers, get in there, and all of a sudden sway people to your side. I mean, that could happen. But I do agree with you. Her favorability numbers, even among Democrats, are dismal. But it's all based on
first round.
Huh?
She had to drop out the first round.
Yeah, but it's all based on perception. We don't know what Kamala would actually do. We just believe she would not be up to the job. She may get in there and be awesome. You don't know.
True, you might go in there and be awesome. You know, we don't know. You don't know until you're faced with the responsibility of making decisions. Nobody can judge that or hold it back from you. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And Arsha Fine in the comments also points out Mike Pence had pretty bad numbers as well. So I mean,
I didn't like him either. I didn't like him either.
Right. So if we want to talk about Kamala, Mike Pence's numbers. In fact, y'all wanted to hang him. We ain't talking about hanging Kamala. So it's even worse.
I would have tied the knot.
I gotta go.
Right,
Appreciate it, man.
I'm seeing you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I'll see you later.
Hey, always. Look at in the comments. They all come up with the promise of prison reform. Half of them do nothing. Some people still in prison. Yeah, I agree with that. I think probably somebody like Bernie Sanders would have probably been the best for that. I mean, I wasn't a Bernie Sanders supporter, but I think he's far enough left. Here's the problem with that. The way the Republicans and Democrats view our justice system is exactly polar opposite. The Republican Party wants to protect the innocents, wants to protect the public rather. They do not want criminals being released back on the street, potentially able to harm somebody or reoffend. So the Republicans focus more on protecting the public at large. The Democrats, just the opposite. They believe you should focus more on preventing the locking up of innocent people as opposed to protecting the public first, which is why Democrats are more likely to go with, what do they call it, cashless bail, reduced sentences and things like that. They're not a big fan of long sentences, over sentencing, mandatory minimums, all of that stuff. The right is more favorable to it. The right is far more tough on crime than the left is. There are pros and cons to both. With the liberals being softer on crime, it does leave the door open for a bad guy to get a ridiculously low sentence or basically no bail and go out there and kill somebody or something like that. Happens all the time. That's the fault of being soft on crime. The Republicans is just the opposite. Being tough on crime often leads to people being charged with shit they didn't do. They favor, stop and frisk, which is obviously violating the civil rights of a host of innocent people. But at the end of the day, they believe it makes the public safer. They don't mind harming innocent folks in favor of making the public safe. The liberals don't mind having an innocent person harmed in favor of nobody being innocent being incarcerated. So they have a totally different mindset. But the Republican Party, damn near every crime you commit would come with a draconian sentence, which is going to lead to a lot of folks in prison that probably should not be. And there's the exact opposite on the liberal party. There's a lot of folks who should be locked up that won't be, and they'll be roaming around the street. It's up to you to pick which side you favor. But they do have a polar opposite point of view. Like, for instance, President Trump, he stated that he would be in favor of executing drug dealers. Perfect example. You're going to kill some people who don't deserve to be killed with that. There's going to be some drug dealers that, even though what they're doing is a crime, first time doing it or something like that, or really don't have a lot of victims, now you're executing this guy. That's what the Republic, I've heard folks suggest chopping off the hand of a shoplifter. Do you think you're going to chop off some hands of people that probably shouldn't deserve it? That's what happens when you're tough on crime. But when you're soft on crime, somebody's going to be let out for shoplifting and end up with a record of stealing from multiple businesses before you say, we need to lock this person up. Why do you keep letting them out? That's the difference when you look at the parties on how they view things. Looking in the comments real quick. Thank you for the hat and mustache, Novocaine. Appreciate the support for the program. Yee-haw, as I would say. Real quick on YouTube. Did want to acknowledge a super chat that I didn't earlier. Name Barber says, people need to be okay with getting old. Yeah, I'm trying, Name. Thank you. I am trying. And Gen Xer, sorry if you have a beard. I'm not calling you her. Gen X is saying, if you got a beard, there's no way in hell I'm going to call you her or she. There are some women, though, Gen Xer, that grow beards. Some women with all female body parts, a little bit more testosterone in their system than should be, and they grow a beard. I mean, just like there are plenty of dudes with dicks and man boobs. It happens. So, I mean, sometimes what you see is not always what you get, and it ain't got nothing to do with the LGBT community. You go to any sporting event, particularly a football game, you're going to see a few man boobs, shirt off and all. So it happens on both sides. I had a couple of hairy ones. I don't know what that means. Biden, I do know what that means. I'll leave it alone. Biden passed all these orders and the economy is worse. First watch, the pushback is, I'm going to say this just in my personal analysis. Maybe I'm wrong all damn day. I don't think the economy is as bad as a lot of folks are suggesting. I think Biden's biggest flaw is the border, in my opinion. But I think when you look at the Eclipse today, where analysts are suggesting people spent $1 billion to look at the damn sun. You look at the Super Bowl, there's no empty seats there. Best Buy isn't complaining that they had a hard time selling big screen TVs under Biden's economy. People are still traveling. Disney World is not giving discounts because nobody's going to Disney World. The idea that the economy sucks, in my opinion, does not match the spending habits of Americans. McDonald's, Burger King, these places are luxuries. Those are not necessities. You don't have to eat cooked food. If you're really hurting for cash, go buy a box of rice for $2 and cook it for your kids. People are still going to premium places. People are still doing this stuff. None of these folks, I just took this year, I went to Mexico on Royal Caribbean, went to Florida on vacation. I went to see Cat Williams Saturday in Minneapolis. It was sold out. Those are mostly black folks, by the way. Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he's selling out all over the damn country. People, I don't see the horrible, decrepit economy that folks are pointing out. These folks are having shows, are having concerts. People are showing up. I don't make a hell of a lot of money. You don't see all these hats and mustaches and fucking galaxies when I'm talking. I'm doing all right. I work for a living. So I agree that prices are not where they should be. But then again, when Trump was president, I wanted shit cheaper than that. If gas is $2 a gallon, damn it, I want it for $1 a gallon. Well, there's one, Kelly. Thank you. I don't know if I talked that shit up, but thank you, Kelly, for the galaxy. Wow. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to state that the economy that folks are portraying doesn't match what spending habits in this country are. Not to mention the political analysts, even the ones on the right side of the aisle, the Neil Cavutos, the Charles Paynes of Fox News, they're even saying the economy is not bad. The jobs numbers that were just released last week under Biden were great, were phenomenal. Remember a year or so ago we were about to have a recession? That didn't happen. So I'm going to just suggest that if we get Trump back, and a lot of folks want him back, there's nothing wrong with wanting him back if you think he has the best vision for America. I don't think that guy is going to give you prices that are rolled back 7 years. You know, you want 2017 prices in what will be 2025, because Trump will be inaugurated in January 2025. He can't roll inflation back 8 years. I mean, not to mention, one of the things Biden does not get credit for, but has happened under his watch, people make more money. The salaries for American workers are higher. Biden does a piss poor job holding rallies and telling people that. But burger flippers, minimum wage workers are making, minimum wage workers in 2017 under Trump were making significantly less than minimum wage workers in 2024 under Biden. And that does not come up much. But there are no shortage of Burger Kings, Wendy's, and McDonald's paying damn near $20 an hour now. That was not happening under the Trump administration. Nobody talks about that. So those salaries are here. States have raised their minimum wage. Hell, I do Uber and Lyft videos. Even Uber drivers are fighting to get better pay in some areas. Trump can't come in and make everybody get paid less. So if the folks are now making more money, I don't know if we can be sure he's going to bring prices down. I mean, fact is, if the burger flipper makes more money, the burger's going to cost more. So this is why we started the live off talking about some of Trump's promises. Some of this stuff is probably not going to happen. And folks need to realize that, and particularly rolling back inflation. I don't think you're going to get mean tweets and $2 gas, for instance. That's a very common statement. You know, I could go for some mean tweets and $2 gas. I don't think you're going to see $2 gas again. I just don't. I mean, there is something called natural inflation. Things just naturally go up. I don't think you're going to get, you know, Trump back in there and everything's going to cost what it did in 2016, 2017. I think that some of that might be wishful thinking. Also, in regards to the Trump promise, we talked about drain the swamp. I really think that that's a pipe dream if you really believe it. He only got 4 years. Maybe in 8 he could have done it, 8 continuous years. He only got 4 years unless he do some of that dictatorship. But 4 years, you only got one midterm that'll be in 2026. And then he himself would be leaving office in 2028. You can't drain the swamp that fast. You just can't. Building a wall, he could certainly do that. We know Mexico's not going to be in on it, but he could certainly build a wall. Lowering crime, we talked about that. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You can't control what Chicago or New York Police Department is doing or the laws the state of New York or Illinois passes. So in the more violent cities in this country, President Trump has no control over it. Even in Memphis, a very violent city. President Trump can't control state law in Memphis. That, okay, you want criminals to be locked up for a longer period of time. That's a state law. Most of that's state law. Even in terms of federal laws, it's got to go through Congress first. Once again, I think that promising to lower crime it's not something that's under the control of the president. So anybody thinking that, you know, the president's going to come in or, you know, crime is up under Biden, Trump, no. You're not going to control the crime rate. You're just not. In the Ukraine-Russian war, he could certainly do that. As I stated in the beginning of the live, he could do that, but that don't mean you're going to like how he does it. If he just hands the Ukraine over to Russia, people are going to be pissed. But he certainly could end the Ukraine-Russian war in 24 hours, like he stated. Just remove all assistance to the Ukraine, provide the Russians with enough surveillance on what's going on in the Ukraine, give them free will, and within 24 hours or so, that shit would be over with. In fact, perhaps slip a note secretly to the location of where Zelensky is, have him taken out, and that's the end of that. He could end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours. Like I said, we may not like how it's done, but he certainly could end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours. Lowering goods, services, the gas, and economy. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. The price gouging and shit that's going on. I don't think the president in a capitalist society where you want the free market to decide, you don't want government intervention. I don't think Trump could stop all of that on his own. I think it would be very difficult. But Chris on YouTube says Trump 2024 or we are done. Done. America's fucking over with. If you don't vote for Trump in 2024, we are done. Wow. That's a strong statement. I don't know. You think if Biden gets 4 more years, America will be in an unrecoverable state? You think it's permanently damaged? Wow, that's strong. Last but not least, largest deportation in history, and I absolutely believe without a shadow of a doubt Trump could do that. Could and will. Could and will. And would have a hell of a lot of support doing it, even among some Democrats. I do believe that he could do that. It would be messy. Very messy. Talk about the diary of Anne Frank. How about the diary of Jose Fernandez? Hispanics hiding out in attics and shit just like Anne Frank and other Americans. Those who lean right or those who are anti-immigrants snitching on their locations. I do believe when Trump promises the largest deportation in history, he could implement that and it would be very messy. Pass laws, making it incredibly bad for people who harbor illegal immigrants, folks who hire them, folks who assist them. Yeah, you can make it really bad. I think he could do that. Like I said, the country would be in disarray and chaos, though, because left-wing cities would not back it. But because it would be a federal law, you could have feds going into cities, people snitching and shit, throw a little bit of money around for folks to tell on it. I mean, you could make it a mess. This is kind of what happened in Germany before World War II. Tell us where Jews are hiding out, throw a little bit of money around, get snitches. It could be done. It could be done. But it would be a dark period in this country. It would be a dark period in this country. But I do believe he could do it. Anyhow, folks, look it in the comments. You guys know what this is. It is indeed a Lunch Break Live. I appreciate you folks tuning in, as always. Thank you for those super chats on YouTube, those who support the program on TikTok. Appreciate the 138,000 likes. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. is when we're here. We wrote out an eclipse. Damn it, we wrote out an eclipse. It is now sunshine and brightness where I'm at. Hopefully it's not too dark where you're at. Nevertheless, in the comments before we go, Best Door 1994 says, buy Uncle Ruckus. Yikes. I get it all the time. Sell out, Uncle Ruckus, Uncle Tom, Sambo. A lot of folks do not read or listen to the program at all. They see a little bit with their eyes, make this judgment. Generally, folks who look like me are the ones that are saying it. But every single program, it's not a program. I've been doing it for 3 years. Not a single program goes by without someone referring to yours truly as an Uncle Sam, a Sambo, Uncle Ruckus, sellout, all the time. And overwhelmingly, it's folks who turn the program on, use their eyes for a couple seconds, came up to this entire conclusion. Fortunately, I do get some folks that come back and will state, I judged you wrong. I got to apologize to you. Some become followers, some become commentators, things like that. It happens, but it's generally folks who look at the program, use their eyes, and make their whole decision. As 123 Pudge says, ignorance is bliss. I love it. I'm going to end the show on that. See you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Have a good one. For you folks on YouTube, certainly appreciate you tuning in as always, 1 p.m. Central. Catch you tomorrow. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go.